Wake up, wake up. In fact, we had such a hard time waking up today that we brought in our good friend Sammy to help us drag us out of the rack.
Come on, boys.
But we got actual trades. Are the Niners going to pick up a defensive end? Could Trey Hendrickson be a Niner by the end of the day? Why does this intro sound like an intro to a Batman episode?
Ooh.
Can Bruce reach the Joker before? Anyways, it is really good to have you. I was talking about Bruce Wayne, of course, not Damon Bruce, not Larry Krueger,
not
Stan Betesh, but you do get the three of us right here, right now. Welcome to Wake Up. It's great to have you here. We are brought to you by Prize Picks. We are brought to you by TriSnap.ai. We are brought to you by A Pig and a Pickle. We are brought to you by Sam's Hamantasha cookies.
True. Really- I would say the color purple, but that's something else. So yeah, but there is purple here.
We got a full-on purple alert. Yes, we do have a lot of old graying men on the show today. There is no doubt about it. But we got a whole new football season to talk about. Rookies have reported. We get the rest of the vets in on Saturday, and then Sunday is the first official practice. So training camp, for all intents and purposes, is indeed here. Welcome. With the coming training camp, we have a few brand new rumors and a few things that just sort of rolled out of bed with us here for Wake Up. As we get underway, we will talk about Deebo Samuel. We know that his name is out there, and basically every single 49er with a Twitter account has told Deebo, the couch is yours, the guest bedroom's yours, the guest house is yours, the room above the garage is yours. Like, everybody wants Deebo back. I don't know if that's the right thing to do or not do, but all of a sudden, like Larry said, the Miami Dolphins have greeted us with a little something else to talk about this morning. Krueger, what do you got? What is the latest from Miami?
Well, it's I woke up this morning to Kev sending me a text about the Dolphins. And I guess I'm trying to call it up on the screen here. I'm not going to be able to. So let me just read it to you. This is from Ricky at Ricky Scoops. Now factor that in, okay? So this is not.
But that sounds legit. Scoop. I mean, you're getting a scoop. You don't just get the name Scoops without, right? Unless you're Raisin Bran. I mean, that's a big deal.
I mean, this isn't an insider. It's not like Diana Rossini is reporting. Oh, a lot has happened since last season. It's not like Ian Rappaport is reporting this. There you go. Anyway,
I will say this though: this isn't some just totally nobody Twitter rando. This is a guy who has actually led a few other insiders to the right path. So he's someone around football, but he is, anonymous. We're not going to put too much credo into anything, but it is.
Damon, has he ever broken anything or that you can think of, or is this a credible source? I guess is the question I'll ask. It's the question that I'm sure everybody's going to ask before we get into it. Is this guy a credible source? I don't know.
It's good enough for us.
It's good
enough for us, right? Good enough for us right now. Here, I'm gonna type in the old. I'm gonna type this in because I know what name's coming up. I'm gonna type it in and see if we get it from anywhere else. All right.
Okay.
You go with the reported news.
Okay. So Ricky at Ricky Scoops has put this out on X, and
all right, enough with the preamble. What is it?
I'm trying to get it for you. I was actually going to try to put it up on the screen because I was going to like it, and then and
then it's real. At that point, if it's endorsed by Krug, that makes it real.
Kev sent it to me. Okay, there it is. Okay, so for some reason I can't find it. All right, so here it is. I'll just read it to you. Sounds like the Dolphins will be moving Bradley Chubb today in a trade. The Cowboys and the 49ers are the most likely destinations for Chubb. Then Ricky goes on to say both teams have also reached out to the Bengals about Trey Hendrickson. Hashtag fins up, hashtag faithful to the Bay, hashtag Dallas Cowboys, hashtag who day. So there you go. Bradley Chubb could be moved by the Dolphins. who are a young football team. Let's be honest, the Dolphins are a really young team. They're not going anywhere. Bradley Chubb is a, he's a veteran. What do the Dolphins have a need for Bradley Chubb at this point? I think that makes sense. Why don't we start with Bradley Chubb and we'll move to Hendrickson. Hendrickson's obviously the better of the two, but Chubb is no slouch either. What do you guys think of the viability of the Dolphins trading Bradley Chubb? I mean, we kind of said for the last month or so, Jadeveon Clowney, Von Miller, this guy, that guy, trade for Max Crosby, trade for Alex Highsmith. The Niners need more pass rush. I think there's two areas in this football team, guys, that are kind of like, I don't want to say fool's gold, but there's, to me, wide receiver and defensive end are the two spots on the Niners that kind of look like if you have optimism, you're like, hey, we're set. But if you're leaning on a lot of young players, if you a lot of young receivers, a lot of young defensive ends, what do you think? Should the Dolphins have Chop Robinson and Josh Uche as their starting defensive ends?
Uche, yeah,
Look, Nick Chubb's name has been in the wind for a while. Like something might happen. The only thing that
Bradley Chubb.
Bradley Chubb, Nick Chubb, all Chubbs. The only thing that Sanchez or Ricky breaking news Ricky here has is that he's saying that something today will happen, and he attaches the Cowboys to them as well. We've seen the 49ers attached to a Chubb trade rumor before, but he's saying today. What I don't understand is, what are you talking about Trey Hendrickson? Trey Hendrickson is a Baltimore Raven. What are we talking about?
I need this Scoops thing again. I need it one more time, because guess what? Bradley Chubb is a Buffalo Bill now, correct?
Yeah, I was going to say, he's not
Bradley
even
Chubb's
a Miami
Bill.
Dolphin.
So I need more on Scoops here. Chubb's
seriously.
already not a Dolphin, right?
I went right to the Dolphins thing.
Yeah, no. Chubb's in Buffalo.
Okay, so
Bradley Chubb, this would be.
We had a way to start today's show, and then Larry said, "No, let's do this Chubb breaking news rumor," and I was like, "Okay, what?
Yeah,
what are you talking about?"
Yeah, well, because Kev sent this to me and was like, "Hey, look at this. Look at this."
Is Kev on mushrooms this morning?
I know, seriously. Kev's been in Cancun, so maybe...
let's give him a little bit of credit.
There's the breaking news. Kev is sending trade rumors from a season ago from Cancun. Somebody ate the worm in the tequila bottle last night.
It is interesting that I had centered on Buffalo a couple weeks ago, because I was going through looking at everybody's defensive ends going, you know what? Do you have to trade for Max Crosby? Isn't there somebody that's going to kind of shake free? There's got to be some team that's got 6, 7, 8 defensive ends and is only going to go with 5 and is going to cut a few loose. And I looked at Buffalo. Buffalo's got Greg Rousseau, Bradley Chubb. They also have Mike Dana from the Chiefs. They have Michael Hecht, who was with the Rams. They also just drafted TJ Parker out of Clemson. And they have Javon Solomon, who's a pretty good defensive end. And I thought, well, with all these guys, they'll probably cut Solomon. I don't even know what to make of this now. Now it's like...
Well, now it's whether or not we're discussing the Bills' defensive line, which is just fine. And Bradley Chubb, I like that move. I would say for Miami, even, it was probably a lot for them to trade him to a division rival, but that's it. The question is, and the Trey Hendrickson, as Damon said, the Trey Hendrickson thing is done as well. I would say if we're talking about potential trades and we really want to make it about the Niners at this point, it still comes down to the Deebo Samuel piece, which is not a trade. They could just get him, but I think that's still the addition here that is still pending in the Niners world. Am I right?
Well, not really. I mean, I we're talking about it, but I don't know that there's any real reason to think that it's pending in the Niners
other than the
world.
futon, right? Other than the futon available in multiple places.
Love him. I think it's a good idea. Let's skip past this rumor. Why? Because Ricky's account is no longer even there. So
wow.
I think somehow Kev sent us something, and this is, believe me, I'll be yelling at Kev later today. For sending this to us early in the morning when we didn't have time to, basically assess it. Now we're running with it and we look like fucking idiots.
It did wake us up, though. It perked us up beautifully, Larry.
But it woke us up in under false pretense.
But a couple things.
My late father used to do this all the time. Hey, Lair, get up. You got to go to school. And not working. Lair, get up. I have a grapefruit downstairs. It's the best grapefruit we've had in years. Oh, it still didn't work. Lair, come down. We've got some Fruit Loops. Come on.
Maybe.
No. Oh, Lair, wait a second. The Giants made a trade. You got to check out the sports
Out of
page.
bed. Boom.
Out of bed, down
Out
the
of
hall,
bed.
down
Boom.
the stairs. So you use what you need to use. But let's move past that one, Hendrickson and Bradley Chubb, and right into what we were going to talk about, which was
Niners should totally trade for Bruce Smith, by the way. I would pick that.
Well, now that the Bills have an excess,
Kev just sent me a thing. He says Dion to the Commanders.
Wow.
Okay. There you go. All right. Let's talk a little bit about Deebo Samuel, because Deebo Samuel is been banished from the kingdom, and yet when you look at the 49er depth chart at wide receiver, as much as I'm encouraged by a lot of these guys, this also could be the cotton candy position of the 49ers. I'm just going to show it to you on the screen real quick. Here is the depth chart for Sammy specifically, if you're not familiar with the Niner wide receiver depth chart. Here it is, okay? And you're looking at it right there. And yet they have Mike Evans, Ricky Pearsall, Christian Kirk, Deshaun Stribling, Jordan Watkins, Jacob Cowing. I mean, you got a bunch of guys here, right? So you look at this and you're like, they're set. They're loaded. They don't need a receiver. Deebo need not apply. Coach Yak is basically putting that out this morning. Hey, there's no room for Deebo here. Okay. But let's look at this for what it really is. Okay. You've got Mike Evans on his age 33 season, coming off of the worst year of his career where he had 30 touches.
8 games on Evans. So here's the thing.
Right.
There's still the indelible, right. There's the indelible image in my mind of Mike Evans with the 1,000 yards at the end of the prior season. Last season's a complete wash for Evans. I do like Mike Evans. Damon and I both, I know, like Mike Evans a lot, but keep going because
There's
you're right.
Really not to like, right?
You're right.
All the guys ever done is produce.
Yes.
But, the reality is new system, new quarterback, age 33 season, coming off his worst year. He's a little bit of I don't know. I mean, maybe a little unknown as far as exactly. He's going to get the ball a ton. But you have Mike Evans. He's your number one guy. Then you've got Ricky Pearsall, Christian Kirk, Jordan Watkins, Jacob Cowing, veterans, right? But they've all been hurt. Cowing has got hamstring injuries. He hasn't been able to get on the field for 2 days in a row. Watkins got a knee injury last year, I believe. That was it. He fell out of the rotation. Kirk's had injuries throughout his whole career. He's never gotten any momentum going. Pearsall has missed 11 games in 2 years. So you got some injuries there. And then when you look at this, you say, well, what do they have? They have Stribling and Pauling and Grimes, but those guys are rookies. And then Watkins and Cowing are essentially rookies as well. So, because they haven't played in the NFL. So you have Mike Evans, you got a couple of injured receivers that you're hoping stay healthy. And then you've got like one veteran in Demarcus Robinson and 5, maybe even 6, if you want to call it Junior Bergen, because he didn't play last year either. You got 5 or 6 rookies, and rookie receivers rarely do it. So
I remember, Larry, when your favorite guy on this list was Demarcus Robinson also.
I mean, I like all of them. I like Demarcus Robinson. I really love Jordan Watkins the most of these guys. I think Watkins has got size and strength and speed and ability. But, I mean, I think we'd be naive if we didn't at least acknowledge that rookie receivers tend to not do anything in the NFL. And you got a bunch of young guys here without experience. And then you got, the most underrated element of a receiver is toughness. And I just don't know about the toughness of Kirk and Pearsall and some of these guys that can't get on the field consistently. So it looks awesome on paper, and it looks like maybe not enough room on paper. But then you mix in the fact that Deebo's 30, and he's coming off of a year where he had over 70 catches and 5 touchdowns and played really well. He played way better last year with Washington than he did the year prior with the Niners. And then there's pictures of Deebo in shape. And we haven't seen Deebo in shape very often since he was back at South Carolina. To me, if he is in shape and he will sign for what the Niners are willing to offer, I definitely would sign him just because he is a one of one. He could fit in almost any wide receiver grouping, and yeah, he may take somebody's spot. But you know what? It's also kind of a projection. I mean, I don't know if these rookies are going to play well.
Here's the question, Larry. Debo with 800 yards last season. You're right. It was a nice season. It was better than the injured season, the prior one with the Niners. Is Deebo Samuel at this point in his career capable of running the ball also? Is he going to be the all-purpose Swiss Army knife that Kyle Shanahan needs here? Is he going to be able to do something that, frankly, Shanahan said he did a terrible job of last season, which is spelling Christian McCaffrey? We know Deebo's not going to go in there for multiple touches back-to-back for McCaffrey, but having somebody else, considering what they did with the draft at running back, this is an opportunity. If Deebo is going to be that same guy that can run the ball effectively, that is interesting. As a wide receiver alone, I don't know how excited I am about Deebo. I love him for Shanahan. Shanahan is able to do things with Deebo. There are items in the playbook with Deebo healthy that are out. You've seen it over the years. When Deebo was scratched late for games, it was a different game plan for the Niners. Shanahan and Deebo, when Deebo is the guy who can be a gadget, then Deebo is great for this offense specifically. And I like it again that it gives McCaffrey a bit of a rest when McCaffrey's coming off a season where he has incredible tread on the tires. Obviously better than the season before, but you got to find something for McCaffrey. And we don't know whether the third round pick is going to be that guy. I like Deebo in there to mix it up a little bit. I love that part of Deebo. I could see Deebo back here. He's also a dog. I don't know how much you guys feel about that. Do you like Deebo the dog? Do you feel that the room needs that? Or is it a little too much? Is there the potential for that to be a distraction? Or is Deebo the kind of guy that's saying, you know what? It didn't feel great to leave here, and I'm thrilled to come back.
All right, you guys done?
Let's go, Lair. Let's go. Give it to me, Damon.
Are you guys done?
Well,
let somebody else sign Deebo Samuel. I wish him the very best of luck. He is apparently in good shape. I don't need Deebo taking a single carry away from Kaylan Black because you're trying to get something out of him at wide or running back again, and I don't think there's much left. I don't need him to take a single opportunity away from Ricky Pearsall, Dejon Stribling, Christian Kirk. You're right. We have an awful lot of unknown sitting there in that wide receiver room. It's time that unknown becomes known, and with Deebo in the room, you don't get to know them the way you need to. I quote Bill Walsh, it is better to say goodbye a year too early than a year too late. You are signing up aggressively for a year too late of Deebo. Now, if the price was right, fantastic. I say you let somebody else run this experiment. There isn't another team out there that appears to be that interested in Deebo Samuel, or he would be rostered. He is not. This looks like an awful lot of sentimentality. This is our old friend. This is a guy who did play well. This is somebody who was on scholarship out here. We like Deebo Samuel in many ways, but I want to keep those warm, fuzzy memories more than I want to watch him get old in front of my eyes, which, oh, by the way, he was doing in his last year with the 49ers. I'm glad that he's found workout, get in shape, Jesus. That's great. Too bad it didn't happen earlier in his career. I've got a Dejon Stribling that has my full attention. Sorry, Deebo. It's just not the right time to get back into the Deebo business, no matter what price point or how alluring it is supposed to be. It's the wrong time. No.
I like that, Damon. I would also say the price tag on Deebo.
Let's find out what Jacob Cowing is. I'm more interested in what Jacob Cowing might be than what Deebo Samuel has left to offer.
And let's say this much. The price tag is $15 million also. We know that. Deebo was at $18 million last season. I've seen all the projections. We're looking at about $15 million on Deebo. So that becomes, do you like it at 15 mil? I know where you stand, Damon.
I don't agree with that at all. I don't think he's going to get $15 million. But I also do think the Rams are the team that is interested. And you may see him with the Rams. Now, factor this in. Last year in Washington, he caught 72 balls. He had 5 touchdowns. He had 721 yards. Yeah, I'm not too fired up about the Deebo that the Niners had, but if he's in great shape, look at the Niners offense last year. Brock Purdy was great despite how crappy the offense was. The O-line wasn't good. The run game wasn't efficient. The pass game wasn't explosive. They weren't good. I mean, it wasn't a good offense. I mean, he didn't have good surrounding a good surrounding cast. The Niners ranked first under Shanahan. Shanahan equals, if you're trying to say, well, what's the impact of Shanahan? Shanahan's impact is run after the catch. When he was in Atlanta in 2016, the Falcons led the NFL run after the catch. When he was with the Niners, not the first year, but year two, 2018 through 2023, the 49ers ranked first in the entire NFL in yards after the catch. 2024, with Debo taking kind of a backslide, the Niners slipped back and they ranked sixth in yards after the catch with Debo. But last year, without Debo, the Niners ranked 19th in the NFL in yards after the catch.
Ouch.
So that to me, this guy is a one of one. I don't want to block anybody either, but I really don't think at this point he's going to cost you $15 million. I think it's going to cost you like $5 million. And I'd be surprised.
I'd be stunned. Based on what the asking price is at the moment, I'd be stunned at $5 million. At $5 million, I think you got to love it. At $5 million, you got to love it. At $5 million, you'd love it.
What leverage does a player have in his 30s in July? I would say he's not going to get a big money deal. We'll see how it shakes out.
I've seen his name associated with the Falcons as well, and again, all it takes. It only takes one other team to want you at a certain price to drive it up.
The Commanders need a wide receiver. They're moving on from him. We know the Kansas City Chiefs need a wide receiver. They're not interested. We know that the Raiders need a wide receiver. They're not interested in. We don't
know that they're not interested. We don't know they're not interested. It's easy to say that, but you said just a minute ago that nobody was interested, and the Rams showed interest last week. Supposedly
let him go. Let him go. I would if Deebo Samuel beats you in a big divisional game, you turn around and you say, "Holy shit! I didn't think you still had it in you, man." They got too much to find out in Watkins, in Stribling, in Cowing, in Christian Kirk. Had they not signed Christian Kirk? Had they not spent early premium draft picks on two wide receivers, one of which is a rookie we haven't seen, the other is a massive year 3. It's now or never Ricky Pearsall. I just don't think you can bring Debo back with those guys having so much to prove, and it's time to find out.
Larry, I want to hear something from you. I want to have one conversation real quick, though. Where do you stand, Larry, first on Stribling? The word that screams Stribling to me is speed. Not that he's one of those Al Davis, I just took the fastest guy, but Stribling, when you look at the wide receiver room, is the burner in the room for sure. Do we like Stribling? Is he somebody, and we understand that rookie wide receivers don't often make the splash. I don't know that you need a splash, but you need something out of them. Where do we stand on Stribling in a Shanahan offense?
I mean, I like him. These are two different conversations. These are wide receiving cores have to complement one another. There's nobody that does what Debo does, and that's why the Niners fell so far in yards after the catch. What I would want from him if I signed him is I want him to be a leader. I want him to block. I want him to be the kick returner full time. That's a major position in the NFL. He's a great kick returner. He's probably the most trustworthy kick returner the Niners have. He doesn't fumble. I mean, Guerrero fumbles. There's other guys that have speed, but this guy's got power, speed, and the ability to bust it. I'm not interested at $15 million. Truth be told, I'm not interested at 10. So if you're right and he's a $10 million plus $15 million receiver, then I agree with you guys. I wouldn't do it. But if this isn't going to cost you anything, you can all, I mean, the NFL, nothing's guaranteed. He should be in somebody's camp. Why not the Niners camp? If these guys that were in front of him were awesome, it would be one thing, but they're all question marks. Cowing is 180 pounds and he's had hamstring problems. Watkins, I really like a lot, but he couldn't get on the field. Pearsall has a hard time staying on the field. I'm just saying this. If you go in, let's just go on what we know right now. Okay, Evans is in a new spot. Kirk is in a new spot. If Pearsall, Cowing, and Watkins, who have been injured, have continued to be injured, your receiving core doesn't look very good. So
are we talking about Deebo Samuel as if he is the guy who's definitely not about to get hurt? I mean, do we not remember how it started ending? I just don't think you're right. We got question marks on this wide receiver.
He can run this role. That's all I'm saying is he can play a role in a 5 or 6 man wide receiver core. I want him at my own price. I want him in my own role. But when I saw how good a shape he's in, I thought to myself, you know what? The only time this guy, his all pro season was 2021. He scored 14 touchdowns and he gives you run after the catch that these other guys just don't. So as far as Stribling, I like Stribling. He was the best wide receiver in the college football playoffs at the end. He made Trinidad Chambliss look way, way better than he was. Trinidad Chambliss just looked like an amazing player at the end of the year, and a lot of it was Deshaun. So I like Deshaun, but once again, I mean, in college football, this is what they do for receivers. You're running this route. You're going to run this route.
Yeah.
Wait a second. No, you're not running that route. You're going to run this route. I mean, that's the layer of complexity. In the NFL, it's so much more complex that these guys don't transition well to the NFL. So it's the one significant quote of the offseason from Shanahan, I thought, was when he basically was like, we want men, not boys, in our wide receiver room. In other words, he's tired of waiting on Cowing and Watkins and Pearsall and all these receivers that can't get out there, and he wants guys that can play. I still wouldn't do it for big bucks, but if I could get him at $5 million, I would do it.
I think the question marks need to become answers, even if they're negative answers. It's time to know. I need to know if Jacob Cowing can play football, and I need to know the answer to that question by the end of this year, because we can't just roster a rumor season after season after season.
He's never been rostered. He's never been rostered. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. So that's the dilemma at wide receiver. You know, do you go with Deebo? His teammates want him. I'll say this about Deebo. Unlike Ayuk, Deebo gets it. Like when he was asked about his status the other day, he's like, hey, you know what? We're going to have to let the chips fall where they may. I mean, that is the right answer for a free agent. You don't say, I need to be back there, or screw them. You say, hey, you know what? We'll see how it all shakes out. You know what I mean?
No one played it worse than Ayuk, and I'm actually surprised between the two of them. If you asked me 3 seasons ago how it would have ended up between the two of them, Deebo or Ayuk, who would screw it up and say the wrong thing? Certainly I would have had Deebo first on that list ahead of Ayuk. I cannot believe that Ayuk has gotten it to this point, and now the Ayuk conversation is so funny that it doesn't even involve the Niners anymore. It's up to somebody else to take a look at that. That's wild.
We saw Deebo launch his own podcast. You know, diva-like tendencies and behavior is what you saw out of him, but it never really materialized or manifested itself in a way that it has with Brandon Ayuk. You're so right about that. That of those two guys, who you're going to bet on to just totally, shit their
career
bed? Yeah, I would have definitely gone with Deebo over Brandon Ayuk, who, again, we didn't even know what Brandon Ayuk sounded like until this latest bout on Instagram. He was the quiet guy who just got the job done. Oh, no, turns out he's Barbara Streisand.
Think about this for Ayuk. He's gone against Jaden Daniels. He's gone against Jaden Daniels' mom. He called John Lynch a creep. He's gone at Kyle Shanahan multiple times, saying he has the maturity of a toddler. He's now gone at the NFL Players Association. I mean, I think we have to consider ourselves lucky that the 3 of us are sitting here. He has yet to go at any of us.
It's very true. But I mean, he's Le'Veon Belling his career here. I can't believe what he's doing to take prime years of his career and do this. And now you're looking at a guy. It's not even about the attitude at this point. Every team is just looking at what happens to guys when they miss this many games. What is it like at that position to come back when you are injured and you miss time on the field? You understand how different it is to be on that field and not? If you are healthy and ready to go and running routes and in training camp and at practice, that's one thing. And if you're not, you're out of it. Think of it how difficult it is for us to just go into a building and go to work versus being at home and doing this. Just think about that mentality switch. And as a football player, what it's like. I would doubt if Ayuk ever gives anyone what he did in the flashes of brilliance that he had with the 49ers.
it's over. I mean, it's all over. The good story, the good feeling, the hey, everything worked out okay and it all came out in the wash. It feels like all of those scenarios are impossible to even imagine happening. What's the latest today? I think I saw something where like Brandon Ayuk says that Kyle Shanahan told him he would want him back. Okay, well, let's ask Kyle about that this week, Larry, when you're down there and, everyone's got access to Kyle. Here's the thing. Shanahan is smart enough to dodge a question because Shanahan knows there might be a world where we actually have to go back to this fucker one day and one time. And I'm not smart enough to start slamming doors in public for no reason at all, the way that this guy has gone about slamming every door that he can find on Instagram to make as much noise as he can. It's a sad, sad, sad exercise in a total lack of self-discipline and self-editing. And
how about this? How do you feel about the wide receiver room exactly a year ago versus right now? Damon, remember the names we were dissecting ahead of training camp for the wide receiver room? I'm sorry, but it is so much better right now. It is so much better.
There was an Equanimous
St. Brown, right?
Oh, yeah, they were picking up guys. I mean, they picked up the guy that Malik, what's the guy's name who played in the playoffs? Malik Turner. Malik Turner was activated for a playoff game. I mean, come on, Niners.
What, Sky Moore, right? Sky Moore was like a big talking point. Sky Moore was a massive talking point. Yes, exactly.
I'm going to miss Sky Moore. What do you got? Bring back Sky Moore before you bring back Debo.
Oh God, Sky Moore's in Green Bay. It's unbelievable. It's like the NFL players are just such mercenaries. I mean, I asked Sky Moore at the end of the year, "Hey man, you want to come back?" He's like, "Hell yeah, I want to come back here." Like 3 weeks later, he was in Green Bay.
Oh,
by the way, let's go back for a second from to the Niner depth chart. We looked at the wide receivers. Look at the defensive ends here for a second. Back
this is fascinating.
Now, this is interesting. You have Niners have 16 defensive linemen, 17 if you want to consider Kamara out here, but there's also a guy named Andrew Farmer who's just a guy, so probably 16 defensive linemen. Okay, 5 defensive tackles, 5 defensive ends. Well, if you go into the tackles, there's lots of tackles, but if you go into defensive ends, Nick Bosa coming off the ACL, third ACL. Mikael Williams coming off an ACL. Keon White coming off an offseason that saw him get shot in the ankle. You got Sam O, good player, but not a star by any stretch. You got Romello Height, who's an interesting rusher out of Texas Tech, but very skinny, 235, 240 pounds in that range. More of a designated rusher, right, than a actual every down defensive end.
Right.
You got Cam Sample, who looks good in a uniform and had some great reps in OTAs, but also had some disaster reps. And then you got Farmer, who's just a guy. Bradley King, who I think is pretty good. He's a rusher. And then you got Mikhail Kamara, who I really kind of like. I think he's kind of a sleeper. But look at this group. I mean, the Niners had 20 sacks last year. 20. It was 6 fewer than the Jets, right?
Disgusting.
No, really horrible. And
nothing was more impossible to comprehend than how bad the Niners were at getting to the quarterback last season. I was actually excited heading into the season.
Couldn't get to Darnold, couldn't get to Stafford, couldn't get to anybody really. Didn't sack anybody. Stopped trying. Stopped even rushing. Started rushing 3 and dropping 8. And I mean, Robert Saleh tried everything. He tried everything. He tried to blitz 15 times in a game. He tried to never blitz in a game. But here's the question. You got 5 guys there. I mean, Bosa is a proven rusher. Mikael Williams has 1 sack in his career. Keon White's 290 pounds. He's really more of a defensive tackle who can play defensive end. Sam Aquinu, I like as a rotational piece in a deep rotation, but not as a major player. And so what do you got? It's like, once again, you got Oso Digizua and Grayson Halton and some defensive tackles that are going to help you. But you may have, especially if Bosa had Bosa's got a quad pull and he's not going to play this week. You're screwed. I mean, you're really screwed. So whether the Niners have interest in Bradley Chubb or Nick Chubb, whether they have interest in, anybody, whether it be, Crosby, Von Miller, Jadeveon Clowney, which is the guy that I think probably makes the most sense.
Aaron Donald. Yeah.
Aaron, I mean, not Aaron Donald.
I'm kidding about Aaron Donald, but I mean, there is that rumor in Los Angeles. I think Clowney is the guy that if you look at what Clowney did last season, Damon, I know you're about to go there, but Clowney's a guy that we pretend wasn't effective. And last season, Clowney actually gave you much more than you realized. Clowney, there is tape of Clowney looking dominant for Dallas. I mean, Clowney actually put a lot on tape last season. Clowney's nice to at least have in here. Clowney's definitely a guy you got to take a look at. I love the Osa thing. Clowney's a guy you got to look at.
Right. Clowney is guilty of not ever hitting an NFL player as hard as he hit that Michigan running back in the whole game. But outside of that, you know, for a guy who had the number 1 pick in the draft, maybe it's not, he never lived up to that, but he's really good and he's really effective this late in his career. He's a total mercenary. There is nobody cooler than coming in to play 18 games for you, and that's about it. Then Clowney, bring him in. Again, don't waste a penny on Deebo Samuel when you have a need for Clowney. And oh, by the way, guess where there's another need that has popped up right before training camp gets underway? You know, you know that you're a little bit light in the depth chart when you start depending on undrafted tight ends. You know, you're really thinking about, well, they're going to be in the mix this year. Well, guess what? The undrafted tight end that you were counting on is now on the PUP list, the physically unable, the can't go, so Dinkin, this team needs a tight end. This team needs one more defensive lineman. This team doesn't need a return to Deebo Samuel warm and fuzzy memories. That's what it needs. So
let's talk about Clowney for a second before we move off to tight ends. He played for Eberflus last year. They had the worst fucking defense in football. I mean, the worst defense. The reason people are down on Clowney is because he's the first pick in the draft. He's never, ever had 10 sacks in a season. He's always been a single-digit guy. But he's good against the run. And his numbers against the run are really, really compelling in a bunch of different schemes. So, and he can rush from inside, outside, anywhere. He could be a 2-point stance. He can be a hand in the dirt guy, 4-3, 3-4 outside. I mean, any front you got, you want to go 5-man front, and he can basically do anything at this juncture. The question is, what's it going to cost you? And can the Niners jump in line? But he's as Damon said, he is a true mercenary. He's going to wait around till, and that's the other thing too. It's like, it always appears like, oh, nobody wants anybody, right? Between the draft and camp. But in reality, the way this works is a couple guys get signed around the draft, and then everybody else gets signed as camps are opening. So I think Clowney's going to have a home. I think Deebo's going to have a home.
Clowney will play this season. Clowney will play this season, and it's not going to cost you a ton, and you're not worried about the fact that he was the number 1 pick in the draft at this point because that is ancient history. All you have to do is get Clowney in. Clowney's going to make an impact on that group. The other guy, I got to say, when you're looking at the Niners from a defensive line standpoint, it's Mikael Williams here. This is it. Mikael Williams as a rookie. I mean, Mikael Williams is the guy to circle. Is Mikael Williams going to be the guy that you drafted, considering he was as injured as he was last season? That's what it comes down to. This is either a breakout for Williams. I mean, think about it. The best defensive play made last season by any Niner, I would say, was Alfred Collins in that first Rams game. He strips it from Kyron on the goal line and pounces on top of it. Alfred Collins gave you much more. The question is, are you getting anything from Mikael Williams? That's what it's going to come down to. I like Clowney there as the break if in case of emergency. I like Clowney there as a nice backup just in case you're not getting that. But if Mikael Williams is the guy that he's supposed to be as your number 1 draft pick from a season prior, that tells you that you've got something. We know Bryce Huff is long gone, and that didn't do anything.
Even if he is the guy that they drafted him to be, they didn't draft him to be much of a pass rusher, and he's not. He is someone who sets an edge, plays the edge, and the 49ers run defense was better with him on the field for sure. I just think Clowney, you talk about he's never had double-digit sacks. You're right, Larry. He never has, which I guess is a disappointment for the guy who was the number 1 overall pick. But guess what? In 2023, he was 9.5, and last year he was 8.5, which is more than I can remember any Niner having in the last couple seasons. So,
and he would help. I mean, I did a video on this a month ago. Hey, go after Clowney because I do think he, if you don't have pass rush and you have 7 DBs that are 25 or younger, That's not a good recipe. You got that many young DBs, you got to have some pass rush. And it doesn't matter what it looks like. And I'd even go for Von Miller at this point. Von Miller's 39, but he also had like 9 sacks last year,
And
8 or 9 sacks.
Von Miller.
You know, so I mean, it's like you just got to find some more pass rush somewhere. You know, the thing about it is, you know, you got to figure out when these guys are going to sign. You know, sometimes guys are going to sign right before camp. Sometimes they're going to sign in the middle of camp. Some of these guys are going to wait till week 1. If you're John Lynch, you just got to make sure. You got to make sure you know everybody's timeline so that you're in the deal flow, so that when these guys are ready to sign, you're ready to sign them.
Hey, if I'm Clowney, I'd tell my agent, be like, get me a job somewhere around the middle of October. I don't need to be playing September football. I really don't.
Well, there's a lot of talk that Joey Bosa is going to play that route, that he's going to come back for 5 games and try to make, 5 games stretch out for a full year, and get paid good money, in the middle of the year. So there's always those guys, that, hey, they're going to stay in shape and break glass. I mean, there's other guys too. Kyle Van Noy's begging to be a 49er. He's out there. He had 12 and a half sacks in 2023 or 4. It wasn't that long ago. It was like a year or two ago. He had 12 and a half sacks. He's been begging to play with Fred Warner. They played together at BYU. So there are options out there. There'll also be options at the cut down. But there's no question. If you said to me, are the Niners going to have a good year? I got some questions. And one of my primary questions is, can they rush the passer? Because if they can't rush the passer, it's going to be a long freaking year.
Well, so I know that we were going to talk about our biggest 49ers fears going into this season. One. And my biggest 49er fear when I'm really looking at it is that they get Nick Bosa back on the field, and it's just not the Nick Bosa you remember. Oof. My biggest fear is that Nick Bosa's best is in his rearview mirror. You can't even make the argument that he's plateauing anymore coming off of the 3rd ACL. And we are looking at the end of the Nick Bosa is a dominant football player right as you're entering he's going to be paid $60 million next season. This is a huge year for Nick Bosa's return to the 49ers. I mean, this is a massive year for Nick. He will either be a career Niner or this is his last year, I think, maybe with the 49ers. If he is not the guy that we remember, how do you get through this season as a defensive line? That's my biggest concern, because who's going to be Nick Bosa if Nick Bosa can't be Nick Bosa? Now you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think that's a reasonable expectation. I mean, not expectation, but it's a reasonable concern. Watching him walk with Joe Burrow into UFC, the UFC fight the other night. I mean, he just looks so stiff. Now, granted, he's walking and it's not on a football field and he's not loose and he's not in, whatever. He's probably not even over his injury. But yeah, I mean, you're expecting Nick Bosa to continue to be the 18.5 sack Nick Bosa. And what if he isn't? What if he isn't? Then you're really going to need pass rush. My big 49er concern is that the Niners interior offensive line, which was not nearly strong enough, let's just say, is still not strong enough, good enough or strong enough. Dom Pooney at right guard, question mark at left guard. Is it Connor Colby? Is it Robert Jones? Is it both? And Jake Brendel at center. And I had Greg Cosell on the other day, and I said, Greg, we started talking about some things, and he's like, he mentioned how Brendel is undersized, and he's also going into, I think, his age 34 season. So you're talking about a guy who's more like 285, 290. It would be nice if they had a big road grading 320-pound center that could handle Leonard Williams and handle Poona Ford and handle Byron Murphy. I mean, those defensive tackles that the Rams and Seahawks have are stronger than the 49ers interior offensive line. I think that's a major problem.
All right. This is really easy to me. You said the word fear, Larry, and I wanted to take injuries out of it, because clearly that's, for any team, one injury at one position can absolutely sink a season. We know that. So I'm going to take injuries out of it. I still came up with three significant fears for the 49ers. Now, for one of them, if you could figure it out and put the schedule up on the screen, the Niners had the easiest schedule last season. I told you the number one offseason move for the 49ers last season was the schedule. This season,
in fairness, it did not play out that way, but go ahead.
It was set up to play out that way. And I will argue that with Brock Purdy down and Mac Jones stepping in the way that he did, I would say that the schedule did play a factor last season, and it did allow this team to accumulate wins. I still say that last season's schedule was a major boon. Now, you don't have the hardest schedule this season. I think it's considered the 8th, quote, easiest, but it will not be what last season's schedule was. So my number one fear is the schedule is now, let's just say, middle of the pack. This schedule does not scream. It doesn't scream 11 wins the way the other one did. Last season, coming into the season, you could sneeze and find 11 wins. I don't see it as easily on this one, especially because I don't even love week 1. Week 1 in Australia, here's what I don't love about it. That was your at Rams game in Los Angeles, which the Rams hated because everybody in the building is wearing red, and you've lost that now. Now that is a neutral site Australia game, when instead it was a massive attack at Rams' home field advantage, and you don't have that anymore. And that was done, I'm sure, by design.
Sammy, it's going to be the same thing in Australia. It's going to be the exact same thing in Australia. In Australia, it's going to be 3-1 Niner fans to Ram fans, don't you think? I mean, the Rams
I can follow you on that, but it's not the same. It's not the same hit that you get as a home team playing in your building when the other team sells you out the way that happens year in and year out. Part of the dominance of Niners and Rams and the rivalry with McVay and Shanahan is exactly that. It's that game in LA that goes to the Niners each and every time when it comes to home field advantage. This is one where the Rams aren't expecting a ridiculous home field advantage the way they would a traditional home game. So I don't love that. I'm just telling you right now, when you look at this, it is not what last season was. So that's my fear number one, is you don't have the automatic of last season. Last season was an automatic 11.
And also, I mean, to add to your, last year's schedule played out the way it played out, right? It was graded low early. It was graded highly by the end because of how those teams played. But with that aside, look at this schedule on the right-hand column, just from week 10 on. Not, The Cowboy game is going to be, I think, a win because the Niners always own the Cowboys, but it's still on the road. But then you go Vikings in Mexico City, going to be packed house Niner fans, but still Vikings are a tough team. I think Seahawks, world champs, New York Giants with the John Harbaugh could be a totally different deal this year.
In New York late, right? We're talking weather, New York, etc. West Coast team traveling east. We don't like that.
Then you get the Rams at home. The Rams are really tough in Santa Clara. Then you go short week at the super physical Chargers. And then you go to Arrowhead. Then you've got the Eagles. And then you finish in Arizona against a Cardinal team. That's always just kind of a wild card game. Who knows how that's going to play out? It will usually be, we'll know tons more about how that game's going to go by the time we see what the Cardinals are and everything. But either way, that's a really difficult schedule. If the Niners don't get off to, if they don't beat I think that Rams game in week 1 is essential. And if that one isn't, you sure as hell better win home games in weeks 2 and 3 against the Dolphins and Cardinals. If the Niners go into week 4 in this 0-3, 1-2, it could be a rough year.
They're in a lot of trouble if they don't get off to a good start. I mean, you can look at 10 through 17. It's a lot, but just 14 through 17. Right. So you're at the end of your year. You're sorting, you know what you need. You know the games that you got to win. You know what the win total is. And you have a brutal 4 of your final 5 games. Look, if I told you that the NFC title game was Rams and Eagles, it wouldn't be out of the question. If I told you that the AFC title game was Chargers Chiefs, it wouldn't be completely out of the question. So you got 4 of the best teams in football just waiting for you in your final 5 games. They better bank some early wins. I'll tell you the, non-negotiables It's week 2 versus the Dolphins,
Yes.
week 3 versus the Cardinals. If you are not 2-1 after 3 weeks of football, your season's in jeopardy right away.
It is. I'm sorry. We know what the Broncos did last season. We know where Bo Nix is going to be. They thought they should have been in the Super Bowl. They thought they should have been competing to win that Super Bowl. This is a Broncos team that is for real in that division. They think they've got a shot with Mahomes taking a step back, with Kelsey not the same. This is a team that feels very real with Peyton. The Broncos Seahawks back-to-back is brutal, considering that very well could have been the Super Bowl. Broncos Seahawks should have been the Super Bowl in many people's eyes. The Broncos Seahawks stretch, you're so right about it, Damon. So the bottom line is we dissected it game by game. I was just going to say last year was easiest, and we know this is not that. No matter what, on paper, this isn't what you had last season, which was a gift. So that's number 1 fear. Number 2 fear is tied to that a little bit. Every season we say that there are 4 new playoff teams, right? So we can't simply say, oh, well, last season this team was in and now it's going to be the same. Last season, think about what happened in the NFC West. It was fascinating. 3 NFC West teams won a playoff game. Didn't just make the playoffs, won a playoff game. And obviously the Seahawks won the Super Bowl and the Rams were in the NFC Championship. It's not going to happen again. You're likely not getting 3 teams from this division again. It rarely happens back to back that the same playoff teams just walk in. So that will not be the case. The NFC West is going to be different. Most people think there's going to be a regression from Seattle. Why? We just do. We didn't really believe what we saw, but guess what? I saw it, and I've also seen Sam Darnold now in back-to-back seasons do it. For everyone that thought it was a joke, we've seen it now. We've seen it from Darnold twice now. So I believe it, and this can happen, and Seattle is very for real. Yeah, they got to figure something out at running back, but this is a very real Seattle team, and we know the Rams are the Super Bowl favorite with the Super Bowl in LA once again, where they won it the last time. So I'm sorry, this division scares the crap out of me, especially considering you got 3 that went to it last season, and Seattle ended the Rams season and the Niners season. That's wild. Seattle split with the Rams in the regular season and then beat them in the 3rd matchup. And we know what happened with the 1 seed on the line in Santa Clara against the Seahawks. So I'm sorry, this division is not going to play out that way, where you're losing crucial games to massive opponents and still making the playoffs and winning games in the playoffs. So that scares the crap out of me. That's number 2. Number 3, simply look at the NFC. Do you remember, Damon and Larry, when we used to talk about the NFC? Oh, it's going to be Eagles or Niners. Oh, it's going to be Eagles or Niners. Oh, it's going to be Eagles and Niners. Now ask yourself that question and take a look. Look at the Bears, the Lions, the Rams. The Seahawks are the champs. The Packers. I'm sorry. The NFC is more wide open than ever, and it is not about the 49ers and one other team anymore. Not even close. This conference is not just wide open, but there are significant teams that you can say to yourself that you could convince seeing in that NFC Championship game. Detroit didn't even make the playoffs last season.
This is why football is king. The amount of legitimate hope, not spring training, everybody's 0-0 level hope, but like legitimate hope. There are 7 teams you can make an argument for they could win the NFC. And you wouldn't sound stupid or way out over your skis arguing about any of them. Last year, we said how it was the most wide open it felt like football had ever been. That's why we want the Niners to make the playoffs, because who the hell knows? Just get in there and take your shot at anybody, even with the diminished returns that the Niners were showing us. Just get in there. And look, ask the Eagles. A diminished Niners team just got in there and just beat them at home.
Beat them. I mean, really beat them well. Look at that game.
Well,
I'm sorry. And for Niners fans,
their own problems.
Okay, maybe, but guess what? Problems after that game. If the Eagles convert on 4th down, find a way to win that game, I understand there's a big difference with if, but that game came down to it, that it unravels at that point because of what the Niners did, because of what Purdy did on the road in that game. Purdy made a ballsy, massive play late in that game. What that team did offensively against the Eagles was so impressive in Philadelphia. It was anytime your team wins a playoff game, I'm just listen to me right now. What the Patriots did as a dynasty does not happen. What the Chiefs did as a dynasty does not happen very often. If your team wins a playoff game any season, it's a success. And if it wins one on the road, it's a massive success. The Niners had an over the skis season last year, period. Especially when you consider who won the Super Bowl.
They got a great performance out of Mac Jones. I would say my big fear outside of the Niners' interior line and lack of pass rush, and what is Bosa, is that the Niners' top 3 offensive weapons are Kittle, and Kittle's 33 coming off a torn Achilles, CMC, who's coming off a 450 touch season, and Mike Evans, who's coming off of, is going to age 33 season, and he's coming off of a 30 touch season. Now, I really believe in Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy beat the Eagles last year. Did he do it with Kittle? Nope.
No.
Did he do it with Ayuk? Nope. Debo? Nope. No. He didn't have any of these Avengers. He did it with freaking Demarcus Robinson.
He beat him with Demarcus Robinson. Period.
Brock Purdy can win with a number of different receivers, and I think he'll show that this year. But still, if Kittle, CMC, if you get to the middle of the year and Kittle, CMC, and Mike Evans aren't really producing much, how good are you? And that could happen easily.
Again, not to till over old ground, but that is the reason why Debo can't be back in the room. If those guys aren't working, you don't need to then tap into another old memory to see if that works as much as you need to start tapping into the new generation to see what they got.
Again, but no rookie receivers do anything, Damon. That was the one thing. It's like you can sit there and go, you know what? We've got to make our rookie receivers do it. Okay, but the rookie receivers historically don't do it.
There's only one rookie receiver on the team.
They have 5 rookie receivers. None of these guys have played. Grimes, Pauling, Stribling, Cowing, Watkins, 5. Bergen, 6. They have 6 guys who have never played in the NFL.
Right, but they've been around the NFL. They're not rookies. They haven't played much.
They are rookies in that they haven't played at all. Cowing has not been active at all. Watkins has been active for 1 game. They essentially have 5 rookie receivers and some injured guys. I'm not saying Debo's got to be the answer, but you know what? It makes a lot of sense. And if he's in shape, it makes a lot of sense. None of the guys that they have do what he does. So I'm not saying that you got to have him. I'm just saying that there's a very good chance you're going to look up and be like, this wide receiver core and this defensive end group, poof. It's like, we're still last in sacks. Why? We got all this defensive end help. You didn't get enough. Wow, we still have a mess at receiver, or Brock Purdy's trying to make these young guys look good. Why? Because you still have old guys and rookies. And just name me the receiver that they have that's been in this offense, that's produced inside this offense for a 2 or 3 year period. They don't have that guy. Yeah, Robinson's not that guy.
Ricky's the closest, obviously. You can make an argument for Ricky.
Yeah, but he hasn't been that guy. And he's still out there wearing a sleeve on his knee. So we'll see. I don't know how it's going to shake out. All I'm saying is it's not an either or. And you try for a big time defensive end, you're going to pay. You could try to get a Jadeveon Clowney, you're going to pay. You're going to pay big. But if you try to get Debo Samuel, you're paying nothing. I mean, I don't think he's going to get much. So we'll see. We'll see
about it is just I'd just say, look, this team has not had the wide receiver that they can ask a lot out of in a rookie year. DeJon Stribling, you need to break that trend. You need to be the difference. You need to be the guy who was used and became valuable his rookie year. You have a huge opportunity. Just listening to Niners wide receiver coaches about him, it sounds like they have a plan to go to him, to use him, for him to be a lot more active than Dante Pettis was when we saw him as a rookie. So it's time. The Niners need to break a few trends that have sort of defined their player acquisition, especially at the position of wide receiver, and Stribling playing, contributing in the first half of this season is how the 49ers reach the postseason. I don't think that they can just have we drafted a guy, but we basically redshirted him and we hope he turns into something in a couple years from now. They're out of that. They're all out of that wait and see mode from this rookie room. And it's time to take a real good look at him. Again, welcome everybody. It is great to have you here. This is a little wake up. We got an extra Sam Betesh with us today here with Damon and Larry. It's great to have everyone here. Obviously, we got veterans reporting on Saturday. The first practice of training camp is coming up on Sunday, and we can't wait for the bullets to really, really start flying. We talked about maybe a bold prediction. Does anyone want to offer up a bold prediction, and might it be a bold and positive prediction? I think I have one.
Okay, Damon, you go first. Mine might be positive here, but go for it. Yes.
This is the year. I'm not going to say it's about to be an MVP year for Brock Purdy, but this is the year that the majority of people watching football start to understand that he is pretty damn good at what he does. They start recognizing that he is the engine that helps this car go more than he is the guy who is lucky enough to be in this car as it's going. I think that this is the season where Brock Purdy gets an awful lot of respect downloaded on his name, and being in that corner of the internet where all you want to do is talk about how Brock can't play and Kyle can't coach, and they're both the wrong guys for the job. That's going to be a lonely corner of the internet, I think, during this season. I think Brock's about to have as good of a year as we will see from him in his career. He's in the prime of his career with the best weapons of his career. I think it's a huge year for Brock, and this is the year where a little respect falls on Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy was number one, Damon. How about this? Brock Purdy is your number one in success rate adjusted EPA last season. A lot of numbers, a lot of weird numbers, but those are real numbers that people take a look at. Third in adjusted EPA and first in success rate in that metric. That is impressive. Brock Purdy leads a lot of important categories in this league. Brock Purdy lived up in every single way. And as I said, winning a playoff game. I'm sorry, you can say a guy's a winner for regular season bullshit. Winning a playoff game in Philadelphia, that mattered, especially considered his greatest loss potentially is that NFC Championship game where he lost to those Eagles who came after him early and destroyed him in that game. And they absolutely did. They ended his season. They wrecked his shoulder, and that was it. He comes back and ends their season. That was a big one for Brock Purdy, I believe. And part of it, having Mac Jones there, that was nice. Mac Jones won some important games, played some important games. I hated that Brock came back in the Jacksonville game. You and I discussed it a lot, Damon. I hated that. It was unnecessary to get him into that game, and you didn't need it. But Brock Purdy, when this team needed him last season, absolutely showed up. The Seattle game was ugly at the end, but Brock Purdy, there is not a question at quarterback for this team. And so many teams have a question. There isn't one for this team. This is not a conversation. It's just not. Brock Purdy's got what he needs, period.
Yeah, I mean, it was his elbow, by the way.
Sorry. Okay, yes.
Yeah, and he didn't lose to the Eagles. He played 6 plays and had his elbow
No,
ripped
the
out.
Niners let him down. I mean, the Eagles came after him, destroyed him.
Brock Purdy, when he's actually played, has always played well. I mean, basically, he stepped in against the Dolphins in 2022. He played well. They won. Up against Tom Brady the next week, he beat him 35-7. Ran the table until he got his elbow ripped out, then went to the Super Bowl the next year and walked off the field twice a leader against Patrick freaking Mahomes. Imagine how he'd be viewed today if his defense had gotten a stop and he had beaten Patrick Mahomes in a Super Bowl. He'd be the guy. That would, he'd be like, some people would know him as Brock, some people would know him as Purdy, and most people would know him as the guy that beat Mahomes in a Super Bowl. I mean, he'd be
Jalen Hurts at worst, right? He'd be Jalen Hurts at worst. Just switch
he's
that.
Way better than Jalen Hurts.
Okay, but Jalen Hurts beat Mahomes and beat the crap out of him in a Super Bowl, and if Mahomes has it, he's Jalen Hurts at worst.
Right.
Period.
But I mean, even that Jalen Hurts had an amazing defense that sacked Mahomes 10 times or whatever. This Brock Purdy would have gotten over on Mahomes with not as good of defense, but he had a great surrounding cast. Either way, Brock Purdy, we were told forever, oh, you know what? He's not good enough. Then we were told it was, he's a product of the Avengers. And nothing could be further from the truth. He made Demarcus Robinson look good. He makes everybody look good. He can pretty much play with anybody. They didn't have good surrounding cast last year. They couldn't run the ball at all. They had under 3 yards of carry in 5 games. They couldn't run. They never ran efficiently. Kittle missed the Eagle game, never was in Seattle for the Seattle game. They had no anything. I mean, they had the slowest wide receiver core I've ever seen assembled. And still, he won a playoff game on the road and played amazingly off of turf toe. To me, there's one thing you got to have with Brock Purdy. You got to have competition. If it's not accidental that the 1 year that he was not great, he had, Josh Dobbs and Brandon Allen behind him, really guys that couldn't take his job. You got to have somebody there that can play, so that he's got to play at a high level. He's really, really competitive. But I thought Mac Jones elevated his status. But I think Brock's going to have a big year. I think he'll have a big year. And you know what? He may have a big year even if Kittle and CMC and Mike Evans are just okay, which is, most people would disagree with that, but I really think that he'll have a big year either way. As far as bold predictions, I'll make 2 bold predictions. And I don't want to take Damon's thunder on this, but
you son of a,
I really believe that the Niners got two. I all this talk about Cignetti. Oh, Cignetti is an amazing. He's amazing. Is he amazing? Or did he get amazing players?
Which is part of it in college football.
Great players. They had great players. I'm not saying he's not a good coach. He's a very good coach. But it's not like any group of talent and he's going to win. Kalen Black is special. And I think when you look at the year that CMC had, the workload that he had, and what Kalen Black has looked like, I'll say it right now, Kalen Black will be the 49ers' number 1 rusher this year. That's bold prediction number 1. Bold prediction number 2, Mikhail Kamara will have more sacks this year than Romello Height.
Let's go Hoosiers. I mean, come on.
Both those guys are real. Both those guys can play. Both of them are going to have opportunities, and they're both going to succeed. And I think at the end of the year, you're going to see people are going to sit there and realize, wow, this Kamara kid was the steal of the draft. I think he really was. I saw nothing in the mini camp that made me think for a second that this guy wasn't going to be really good. He looked great.
He can't be the steal of the draft. He wasn't even drafted. I mean, that's the amazing thing about him.
Steal the post draft.
Yeah, let's see. Larry, I hope you're right. I mean, nothing would make the, Indiana Hoosier covering the 49ers happier than watching that. You're telling me that both Brock and Mac go down and Curtis Rourke leads them to a Super Bowl. I mean,
I'm not crazy. I'm a big CJ West guy. I'm a big Kalen Black guy. I'm a big Mikhail Kamara guy. I'm not a big Curtis Rourke guy.
Okay, that's all right. You don't need to be.
There's no reason to be yet. But look, I would love it if that happened. I would love it if that happened. I mean, I think that Jordan James is a little bit more of a factor in that backfield. I don't think they're just going to go right to Kalen Black. I think we're going to get a season out of Jordan James here that is going to maybe stand in the way of your prediction becoming true.
I got one prediction here quickly.
Jordan James also looks. I'll say there's one thing about Jordan James that I noticed. I never noticed when I watched him at Oregon. Never really noticed it last summer, but I noticed it during the OTAs, and I mentioned it to one of the Niner people. Jordan James, we see this in football. You don't see it in other sports, but in football you see it. There are guys in football who are noticeably faster when they have the ball as opposed to when they don't, or when they're running for a stopwatch. Jerry Rice ran a pedestrian time for the stopwatch, but he was incredibly fast when he had the ball in his hands. Same with T.O. Sometimes it's guys who have a little bit of heft to them. But Jordan James is like really compact. He's like, 228 pounds. He's really compact. If you watched him for the stopwatch at the combine, slow. I mean, like not fast. 4.54, something like that. 4.52. I forget what it was, but it was in the mid 4.5s. It wasn't very good. Didn't stand out. Kind of a slower time. But if you watch him catch the ball out of the backfield in the OTAs and what he does with the ball in his hands, he's got to be a 4.4 guy with the ball in his hands. And I would say look for CMC, Black, and James to be that late in the down safety valve for Brock. and I think they're going to be really, really good.
Here's my prediction regarding Christian McCaffrey. Check out this. We all know that McCaffrey had a very special season last year, 2025, considering what 2024 wasn't. 2025 was very good for McCaffrey. How about this number, though? 5.1 yards per touch, the lowest of McCaffrey's career for any full season or even partially full season. The lowest. Christian McCaffrey is coming back for even more this season. This will be a Christian McCaffrey return to glory season, and here's why. Because Shanahan has committed to not running him into the ground the way it was last season. So yes, Damon, maybe it will be the Hoosier in the end. Maybe it will be Kalen Black. They will find the second gear for McCaffrey that he does not have to take it all on himself. And that will be the difference. And McCaffrey will be making the most special plays at the most critical time for this team this season. McCaffrey, I believe in it. He is generational, and he will prove it again beyond the years when we expect that position to make a difference. But if you're telling me that last season was his worst season, I'm signing up for Christian McCaffrey.
Let's go, CMC.
I like it. Have you seen? I was looking up on Coach Yak's X account for the McCaffrey training. Have you seen his training this offseason? I mean, he's doing crab walks and oddball. You name a training method, and he will try it.
It's balance. He is looking for, he's stretching. He wants more flexibility. It's like Victor Wembanyama training with his Shaolin monks. It really.
And when it comes to predictions, I want to remind you both. A year ago, even more than a year ago, we were talking NBA for a second, and Larry says, "Sam, what's your prediction about what you see happening in the NBA?" And I said, I'm not going to doubt the Spurs with a 7-footer. I said, you know what? Return to glory for the Spurs is what I see. I'm sorry, but they got a guy who's going to change the entire league. That's what I said. And you got to admit, Larry, it was at a time when nobody was really saying that.
You were all over it. You were all over it.
Draft.
I just, and not to say that it's 7, it's considering that now it seems ridiculous, anything about Wemby, but it was not as if the Spurs were on the tip of everybody's tongue at all. It was the end of Popovich. It was okay, maybe we'll see. And yes, so there you go. So that my bold predictions on CMC, and you can put it in line with what I said about Wemby.
I tell you what, Krug, why don't we hop into our supers?
Got
prize picks. We got our supers. And then we have to wrap up today's show by talking about the NFL's alleged biggest knucklehead. We'll get into that to wrap up today's show.
All right. The Krueger Show and the Plus presented by Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. That's right. And the reason I like it, it's simple. You're just picking more or less on player stats or game outcomes, building your lineup, and you're in. No complicated stuff, just what you think is going to happen inside the game. Use code HMA. Play $5. Get $50 in lineups instantly. The link is in the description. We will move all of us here to the corner of the screen. Let me do that. Is the corner of the screen. So there it is. There we go. And we will share the screen and put in our Prize Picks lineup, and we'll go NFL futures because the World Cup is over, and we don't want baseball. Baseball is kind of a little dry. And then we will move over here and put our beautiful little thing over.
I got you.
You got me? You got me. There it is. All right, so let's go with our Prize Picks lineup. We're going NFL futures. Puka Nacua, 8 receiving touchdowns. Will he have more? Will he have less?
I don't see how the Rams are a playoff team if he has less. Right?
You're going more on.
I would go more on. Yeah, just 8 for Nacua. Yeah, I'm going more on it.
Okay,
that's
so
that feels like. I mean, nothing's a guarantee, but that you're right. You're right, Damon. Something went horribly wrong if he's not in there 8.5 times.
I'm going to go more on Ashton Genty. I think he goes for 1,000. Sammy, you want one on here? You see one that you like?
Let's go. Let's see here. Where's the Derrick Henry's an interesting one. Where were we on Derrick Henry?
Well, I just think I like Derrick Henry less just because he's older and older backs, it's like there's so much only so much shelf life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Actually, you know what, Goff, considering that people will probably convince themselves that Goff had a down season, Goff was just as good last season as ever. I'm a Goff believer. Yeah, I'll take over on Goff.
More on 4,049,
which is it's an incredible season. But I'm saying a year after not having Ben Johnson, licking their wounds for trying to replace the offensive coordinator, I like the Lions' return to glory.
There you go. All right, so let's see our 3-pick power play. $5 pays 30. Puka's got to have 9 receiving touchdowns. Genti's got to go for 1,000 yards on the ground. Jared Goff's got to throw for 4,050 yards. If all 3 of those things happen, our $5 turns into 30, courtesy of Prize Picks. Thank you to Prize Picks for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show and the Plus. And
hey, if you don't mind me saying, my good friends over at TriSnap.ai, we officially have our snap decision of the day in 100,000 Monte Carlo simulations. It's come out with better an 82% clearance. Braxton Ashcroft, more than 6.5 strikeouts. The Penguins, yeah. The Pirates are taking on the Yankees today. Braxton Ashcroft, more than 6.5 strikeouts today, is our official snap decision of the day. So thanks very much to our sponsors, my sponsors, Larry's sponsors.
Also thank you to Novato Chevrolet, voted top car dealership by Carfax, family owned for 50 years. Gus is the owner. I'm driving a new Chevy Blazer this month, courtesy of Novato Chevrolet. I'll be driving a different Chevrolet throughout the football season. And last but certainly not least, thank you to Sharp Corners Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're going to have free shipping to all Krug Show fans. They also have a big trade night on Friday nights in the summertime. 831-521-5264. You can connect with him on Instagram, Sharp Corners 831 on the gram. So thanks to them. And I always throw at the bottom of the screen our banner for Novato Chevrolet. All right, let's jump from Prize Picks and our sponsors back into. You want to do some supers here? I also
have some supers. Then we'll have the dumbest story of the day.
Oh. Okay, here we go. Here are some supers for today. We have 17. Wow.
Look at that. You can tell it's almost football season, folks.
Let's go.
And by the way, as we're sitting here, everybody, if you guys could hit like and subscribe. If you hit like, more people find the show in the overall YouTube algorithm. If you hit subscribe to all 3 of us, anytime the 3 of us go live individually, you'll get a little alert that costs you nothing, but just a little alert so you don't have to miss a minute of the action. So hit like and subscribe if you could to support the show. All right, here we go. Meal Ticket 707, 2 gems, Silver Star. All right, thank you. I got this one as well from Meal Ticket. 2 gems equals nice. 1 minus 100.
Trinkets. I don't know, like gifts. I don't understand.
I'm not sure, but thank you.
Of what's going on there, but thank you.
James Allen, 440 gems. Minus UNC alert. Now, somebody explain what's going on here.
Where's that Unk alert?
So we're Unk. So basically, we're old guys. He's right about that. But I don't understand the whole gems thing. Is there a new way of rewarding people on YouTube that I don't know about? How about this?
I don't know.
Thanks for the gem. We'd rather have a cash up front super chat. Thank you.
J-Mad says, Larry, I've been Miami for the last 40 days watching nothing but
action. He's not been in Miami. He's been
maybe. I mean, look, maybe.
I've been missing in action.
Right? There's a possibility. Okay. Maybe.
I've been MIA for the last 40 days watching nothing but the World Cup. I'm back at full swing for 49er content. What did I miss?
Not much.
The Niners had a how many days? 40 days. What's the date today? So he's basically
that's
been
over
gone
a month.
It's basically been gone since May.
Miss Brandon Ayuk's full on crap.
Yeah, I mean, I was on vacation in Boston and Connecticut for 10 days. Damon went on vacation to where'd you guys go, to Yosemite?
Woods. We're just north of Yosemite.
That was beautiful.
Little cow camp, right? Isn't
the little Pine Crest? Yes,
the lair of the bear. The lair of the bear. My brother is a golden bear. Damon's wife's a golden bear, and right? Isn't she a golden bear?
Yeah, and it's funny, so she got me a cow pullover hoodie, which I like it. I love Script Cow. I love their logo. I rock the hoodie. People ask me if I went to cow. I said, dude, The only way I'm ever getting in Cal is just this hoodie right here. This is the closest they will ever let me into Cal.
You know, it's funny.
Wait,
Tyler,
by the way, a couple things that you missed. The Knicks are NBA champions, which is stunning. Okay, that's something you missed over the last 40 days. And again, the biggest news in the NFL by far that nobody saw coming, of course. Myles Garrett is a Ram. So for Niners fans, there's no
Myles
bigger
Garrett's
news
a Ram.
than that. Yeah.
The Rams are going to be the biggest surprise failure this year, and it's with Myles Garrett, in my opinion, because they're so thin. I mean, the Rams are the thinnest team in football. They have great starters and lousy backups.
Their schedule should take care of them. They have the most savage NFL schedule you'll ever look at.
I also, by the way, for you Cal fans, Cal has their media day August 4th. And so I'll be out in Berkeley to talk
you're going
to
too, Larry. I'll be there with you.
Come on, I love it, you too.
JKS, you name it. Ron Rivera. So anyway, he wants me to tell people. Tyler Tim said, not only show up, Krug, bring all your friends. So Tyler Tim's trying to get Cal rolling, and he's doing a nice job.
He's doing a really nice job. Tyler Tim called me, and he's like, we will spend less time getting beverage service on our flight to ACC Media Day than we will answering questions on ACC Media Day. We're going to do our own Media Day in Berkeley. Would you like to come? And I said, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be great. Sugar Shane, no Mosley, says 1,000 gems minus trophy cake.
What the fuck is a gem? What?
Truly outrageous. 1,000 gems. I mean, I have no idea.
Gem is truly outrageous, Damon. That was a good one.
We got this one from Mill Ticket, 2 gems. We got this one from Sean Wilford, 2 gems minus the silver star.
What?
I have no idea. Snuffs says, hey, Kevin, is Bruce Smith on the trade block?
Big news.
Kev
Big
deserves
news.
that. He deserves that. F's Findingo, 400 gems minus the Eagle. What?
That's SF Indigo, first of all, right? Is that, yeah. Is that Greg's restaurant, Damon? Indigo, right?
No, a million years ago, down in Hayes Valley. Yeah, Indigo hasn't been open since.
Tommy Huxley says, drink every time Larry pronounces Sam O wrong. Sam Aquinu?
I appreciate the attempts, Larry. Just keep at it.
Sam Aquinu. I think that's it. Sam Aquinu. Say it with me. Joseph Ernberg, member for 11 months. He says, missed you, Ryan Reynolds. Why make a trade on a meaningless season? 49ers playing Seattle and LA is literally hydrogen bomb versus a coughing baby. Great show.
By the way, YouTube gems are usually high quality or underrated channels or the virtual currency known as jewels in interactive digital gifts viewers send during vertical live streams.
We're rich. We're rich.
Let me tell you, we are the righteous gemstones right now.
Retirement. Joseph Ernberg says Cowing is into year 3 and Watkins year 2. They are nothing. Well, I understand that you're nothing till you're something, but I do have hope for them, especially Watkins, because I think Watkins is got real strength.
And look, they're not.
But I hear what you're saying. It's like if you're if you're a bad team, then just roll those guys out and see what you got. But if you're we got to contend. We got to win a Super Bowl. You probably should have a contingency plan or two beyond those guys. Clarence Beeks says, football. Woo! Woo!
We feel the same way.
Ernberg, bold take. Brock wins the MVP and Super Bowl MVP. 5,000 plus yards and 45 touchdowns. Wow.
There you go, Joseph.
Ernberg.
It is bold.
It is bold. You said the Niners weren't going to the playoffs.
I mean, there are people literally that were trying to get rid of Brock, like 6 months ago or 4 months ago. Mac this and Mac that. Scott WD said, are you scared of LA's roster or do you believe we can compete? The fanboy in me says we can beat them, but national media doesn't see a chance. Well, you know what? I look at the Rams this year. They're like the Warrior team that went to the finals against Toronto. If they're healthy, it's a wrap. But if they're not healthy, then they're probably going to fall woefully short. I'll show you the Rams depth chart before we get out of here.
It's going to be a split, by the way. I mean, does anyone here want to sign up for anything but that? Split. Niners and Rams will split this season. I mean, that's not a crazy take, but that's a split.
There is no unbeatable team in football. Let me tell you who could beat the Rams. The worst team in the NFL could beat the Rams. The Arizona Cardinals could beat the Rams. The New York Jets can beat the Rams. The Miami Dolphins can beat the Rams. This is how this league works, kids. That's what so many people fail to understand. There is no great chasm of we're great, you suck in professional football.
It's really pro sports, man. It's pro sports. I mean, you could say it's, it's like saying, hey, I'll give you $1 million. Bet it on one baseball game today. It's pro sports. It's a coin flip.
Look at the suicide leagues, right? I mean, each week you got to pick one team that's not going to lose, and week 1, half of those leagues are eliminated. Week 1.
Before we go to this, let me just say this. I'm going to share the screen on this. This is the Rams schedule, folks. Okay. Look at this schedule. Tell me that this week 1 game in Australia is not huge. The Rams come back.
I got a nice one for you, Larry. If you want, I got a better shareable one that we can read. I threw it up there for you if you want.
Okay. Hold on. There we go. So, okay. Niners in Australia. Giants coming back from Australia on a Monday nighter in week 2. John Harbaugh is the head coach now. That game's going to be tough. Then they go in Denver, always tough. In Philly, always tough. Buffalo on a Monday night, I don't know what that's going to be. But that first month of the season is very difficult for
They don't
the
take
Rams.
a breath until week 6.
Yeah, I mean, if the Rams let's just say this, if the Rams get off to a slow start, look at the way this thing finishes on the back end. Packers, after the bye, Packers, Chiefs, Niners, Cowboys, in Seattle, in Tampa, Seattle again. The Rams have a really tough November, December. If they don't get some wins early, if they get off to a slow start, it's going to be a very challenging year.
Nobody wants divisional 2 of 3 weeks, same team. Nobody wants divisional opponents, same one, 2 of 3 weeks. Nobody wants that turnaround.
Dude, just look at
the end of that is gauntlet.
You mean those Seattle games? You're talking
Seattle games sandwiched with Buccaneers. They're 16 and 18. That is it's beautiful by the league because it means nothing is decided before week 18, which is awesome. But that is brutal.
Well, it's also brutal because look at the Rams. If you get the Chiefs in week 1, you may not get Mahomes, but in week 13, you're going to get Mahomes and he'll probably be in rhythm. Right.
And just look at that. I mean, just look at that. Forget where we're playing. Forget what portion of the season we're playing in. A 5-game stretch. Packers, Chiefs, 49ers, Cowboys, Seahawks. Good luck.
Yeah.
But first of all, just look at AFC. Look, AFC opponents. The fact that you got Broncos, Bills, and Chiefs as AFC opponents is brutal enough.
Well, I mean, if by chance, I mean, this sounds crazy, but if by chance the Niners beat the Rams in Australia and the New York Giants upset them in week 2, they are in a world of hurt. Because then you're talking about 0-2 at the Broncos, at the Eagles. Ooh. I mean, I'll say this too. I'll stop sharing that and just say this on the Ram front. The Rams are a really, really good football team if you're just talking about the top of their roster. But if you look at their backups, and I'm showing it to you right now. No, you're not seeing it. Hold on a second. We'll move this out of here real quick. Just show this to you quickly before we
go on depth chart here. Yeah.
Well, yeah, here's the Rams depth chart. Look at this. Their backup receivers are Kanata Mumfield, CJ Daniels, Xavier Smith. Okay. Ugh. And that's behind Devontae Puka and Jordan Whittington, who was an undrafted 6th round pick in 24. So, I mean, if they have any injuries to Devontae or Puka, this receiver core sucks.
The only place they're legitimately deep is tight end.
Their offensive line's really thin. They got a break this week as Alaric Jackson's not going to have any time off from his domestic violence situation. So he's going to play. So it's a really underrated offensive line. I mean, it's one of the better offensive lines in pro football that nobody talks about is the Rams. McClendon's good. Avila's good. Dotson's good. They're all good except for Coleman Shelton, who's just okay. But then tight end wise, they got a bunch of tight ends. Okay. Quarterback wise, though, it's Stafford. Then you got a rookie in Simpson, who wasn't very good in the second half of the year with Bama. Stetson Bennett. I mean, it's their front line on defense is awesome. Braden Fisk, Poona Ford, Kobe Turner, Byron Murphy, Myles Garrett, but their backups are forgettable, except Josiah Stewart's pretty good. But other than that, the backups, that second level, nothing. And the third level is like a witness protection program. So they're really good. Like the secondary's damn good. They added McDuffie.
Secondary's great. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, Larry, the defensive line and the secondary for the Rams is special, though. But the defensive line and the secondary for the Rams is the heart of what makes them a contender. Yes, yes. I mean,
if you just look at this first column, you're like,
yes, it's like, wow. Yeah, it is wow. That jumps out at you.
To this column, it's not the only good players really here are Emmanuel Forbes and Josiah Stewart. Everybody else is just kind of a guy. And these guys right here, not very good at all.
Yes.
So if they have any kinds of injuries to their receiving core, their defense, the backups are not going to be nearly as good. I think the Rams are full.
I'll also say quarterback for them also. I mean, a lot of conversation. Well, a lot of conversation around what they did in the draft. So I would say still quarterback, they also have a nice backup plan. They definitely do. They definitely do.
Not this year, they don't.
Yes, they do. They drafted a guy. Drafted Ty Simpson. Yeah, I mean, look, that was a
Simpson was a one-year starter in college who was only good in the first half of the year. You're expecting he's going to walk in and be able to play?
No, obviously Matthew Stafford's playing.
No, that's what I'm saying. But in this scenario, you're saying he's going to play.
Yes,
I'm saying he's not
I'm
good.
saying that McVay can. Yes, I'm saying McVay can squeeze the talent out of that.
Considering what he was drafted, you've got Mac Jones. If Stafford goes down, you've got Ty Simpson. That's not the same.
Well, they overdrafted a quarterback, though. We can say that.
They drafted a player they like, but I think it's more. I mean, I think that's part of why the Niner people were so happy with that pick, because it was like the Rams could have added a blue chip player, but instead they added a guy for the future who, if he has to play this year, probably is not going to be that great.
We'll see what happens at a training camp. I'm watching that one. I want to see where Ty ends up on the depth chart, too. I think that's really interesting to watch.
Oh, he'll be number 2, but I mean, it's just a matter of, can he play as a rookie and can he win as a rookie if he has to play? Fuji says, wasn't aware of the Matt Miller story. If allegations are proven true, jail is a possibility.
No.
Losing an arm and then possible prison time. Oh, my God. This guy has had the worst offseason of anybody. I mean, literally
worse than Pearsall. Yeah.
Diana Rossini's walking around going, I'm glad I'm not Matt Miller. I mean,
Seriously.
She at least has both arms and a job, maybe in the future. He's got no job in the future and no arm. And now he's being invested by the Missouri, authorities. I don't know him that well. You have people like, we know each other, right? We all know each other.
For sure.
And we've known each other for years. I mean, years.
25 plus.
Damon,
yeah.
I met Damon in 1990.
Yeah. We're talking, 1999 for me with the two of you.
So I mean, we're talking about 30 years.
For too long.
Yeah. I mean, but my point is just that, a lot of times we'll say this. Oh, yeah, I know this guy. Oh, yeah, I know that guy. But there's a difference between an acquaintance and especially a work acquaintance and somebody who, we've broken bread. We've been at each other's homes. We've seen each other in other cities and, things like we know each other and we know each other's histories and, dating patterns and work connections and everything else. Right. So
has the man ever stood in your kitchen? The both of you have been in my kitchen.
Boom,
exactly.
Boom.
And I'm going to get in your kitchen. No. But, Matt Miller, Damon and I went to dinner with him in New Orleans before Super Bowl 47. He was working for Bleacher Report, a bunch of Bleacher Report people. We all went out with them, and we had a good time. I've had Matt. I've kept in contact with him ever since. I've had him as a guest on my show. I'm a fan of his work. But I knew nothing of any of this stuff with fantasy leagues and GoFundMe's and different ways that he's kind of bilked people or scammed people out of cash. That's obviously separate than this accident. The video came out on the accident. It looked like his car went over the double yellow. By the way, I don't know about you guys. I didn't move. We had a chance to buy a house in Moraga, and it was a beautiful house, right? Moraga is just another suburb here in Northern California for those of you watching elsewhere. I didn't buy the house, largely because it was all the way down Moraga Road. And Moraga Road is one lane going back and forth. I didn't want my wife carting our children on rainy, ugly days on a one-lane road.
Scary.
It's scary stuff. And it's just, there's no margin for error. There's a lot of death in Hawaii, believe it or not, because of one-lane road, stuff that happens. And that's basically what we saw there in Missouri. It was a one-lane road, basically a one-lane freeway. So you're going full speed at the opposite, people with no divide. So anybody leans over or goes over the double yellow. Oof. His car went over the double yellow. And so I don't know. He said that he was not being distracted by his phone. He was not on anything, whatever. But either way, he's now down an arm. He's been suspended indefinitely from ESPN. I would be shocked if he's ever back. I really don't think he's ever going to get back.
A massive clearing of his reputation through the Missouri Attorney General's office, where it was a gargantuan misunderstanding in the paperwork and bank. Look at it this way. There is forensic accounting that can prove easily and quickly whether or not this was above board or below board. It doesn't sound like it's going to come above board, which means he could be looking at actual prison time. There are charities involved in this that he might have scammed out of money. So, there's an element of fraud going on with that guy that could cost him the rest of his career. And again, his nickname is now Lefty. So it's been a rough month.
Cost you an arm and a leg. Yeah.
Oh, it's been awful. It's been absolutely awful. And it's like, if you have a heart, now granted, if he's bilked people out of cash, but these are two separate things, right? On one hand, over here, I pray for the guy that he gets healthy and gets right. On the other hand, it's like, you know what? If he really did, steal all this money from people, there's going to be a judgment day on this thing. And
you should have to, I believe the quote is, you go directly to federal pound you in the ass prison, and you probably deserve it.
Oh, gosh. Fuji Simeon says, with World Cup over, what are the odds SoFi and MetLife adopt grass fields going forward for the NFL? Thank you for the show and love all the ads and sponsors.
Thank you. They're already ripping those fields out. They've already done it.
It's done.
Those fields out. Like today, they are taking natural turf out of MetLife so they can go back there because it's cost effective and there's no amount of money that will ever make an NFL owner say that's enough money. Let's make sure we're taking the best possible care of our players.
Do we have any idea what the cost is?
Well, first of all, there was a cost to retrofitting it for the World Cup, and obviously FIFA takes care of most of that. But it's for a month as opposed to 5 months for an NFL season, so it is
George
a little
Kittle's
different.
Outspoken on this, Sammy. He's like, the NFL needs to, these places that have turf, they need to adopt grass. I thought it was like $3 million.
It's going to be difficult for the public to get out of their minds trucks filling these fields with dirt and grass. For the rest of our lives, we're going to know that it was possible. And again, considering what you think of World Cup on the grandest stage and the greatest game, right? Whatever you think of that, the amount of eyeballs that were on it, and certainly on Sunday on it for MetLife, it's worthy of the conversation because what it proved is, it can be done. It can be done in a short amount of time. Also, it can be done between football season and the World Cup. We can fill it with grass and it's sustainable for multiple games. I think there were 6 matches at SoFi, or LA Stadium as we called it. So it's possible. I just don't know sustainable over the course of an entire football season. What would that cost? Interesting.
But Sammy, come on. I mean, we have to push back on this. The NFL has gone from like a $10 billion industry a decade ago to a $27 billion industry. How much longer can they go forward with this? We don't have the money. It is the most popular sport in America by far. They always love. How about Roger Goodell? How about maybe a little less of a hug on draft day and a little bit more give a shit about your players the rest of the year? I mean, you can't sit there and say that we're all about player safety, have a league that's escalated in value to a $27 billion industry in a decade. It's jumped $17 billion, and you can't put a grass surface, even if it costs you, let's just throw out a rough number, $5 million. I can't imagine it would be that much. But let's just say $5 million 10 times a year, right? It's $50 million. It's a lot of fucking cash. It pales in comparison to your revenue pie and the growth within it. So it's like, come on, guys. I mean, you can't say you love the players and then don't do everything you can for the players. I mean, we're talking about surfaces that are dramatically better than MetLife, which is a
look at it this way. Even if it did cost something ridiculous like $50 million a year, you've got players signing larger contracts than the cost of that turf. We just watched an entire World Cup, 100+ games being played. Not a single serious ligament, knee, Achilles, ACL, MCL, not one serious catastrophic.
Wait, Damon, what are you talking about? I saw so many players on the field writhing in pain. What?
Now,
there were Damon, no serious injuries. What are you talking about? I saw families crying about people that were spilled on the field. I mean, it looked like a bloodbath out there.
It looks like guys are getting sniped from the upper level.
I mean, it looked like a massacre on those fields. I mean,
That's the only blight on soccer, by the way.
It is
the only blight.
It's the fact that they totally BS their way through it. It's like every soccer player is inherently dishonest. It's like you're all trying to sell things. It's embarrassing. It's like
the whole thing is like, well, they never stop running. Bullshit. There's all this stoppage time. They're constantly giving each other blows. And
there's actually an entire category for the stopping.
And anyways, look at it this way. Let's say it did cost $3 million. Well, at worst case scenario, you're going to have 9 regular season home NFL games. We're talking $27 million. $27 million can be found in any NFL owner's sock drawer, couch cushion. $27 million is a rounding accounting error.
How many teams that don't use grass would then be using grass? How many stadiums are we talking about? Right? We're talking about more than one. We're talking about MetLife. We're talking about Jerry's World. I mean, who's got turf right now?
What did Buffalo just do, by the way?
Buffalo's going to have a natural grass stadium.
Right. What does SoFi have?
SoFi's turf.
SoFi's turf.
I mean, those
look at it this way. Levi's had all those problems with its natural grass to begin with, and Harbaugh wouldn't have the team go out there and blah blah blah.
Still did it.
It's still natural grass, and it's still better. It is.
I know, it's amazing. It's an amazing thing too. It's like NFL, graduate beyond your mom and pop roots, and start treating the players the way you should.
Do you know why soccer and FIFA is allowed to do this? Because Lionel Messi said, "I'm not fucking playing on your plastic grass." There's no amount of money. There's no amount of negotiation. There's no amount of dangling threats over me that will make me change my mind. If you want me in the World Cup, get your grass right. So they all said, okay. All this would take is every single NFL player on week 1 going out there being like, no, not playing.
I will say this about soccer. The one thing I did enjoy about the World Cup final is that even in a game that was just totally dominated by one side, there was tons of drama. I mean, think about that. If you got into a Super Bowl, but it was 41-0, there'd be no drama. If you got into a Game 7 of the NBA Finals and somebody went up by 30, there's no drama. You get into a Game 7 of baseball and it's 7-0 in the 6th, there's no drama. But in soccer, because of how good Argentina is on penalty kicks, it was like if this thing gets to penalty kicks, they're going to win. They're going to win on penalty kicks. And they never got there. And how dominant was Spain?
The fact that it was 20 shots on goal to nothing is such a staggering difference. And yet on the scoreboard, it's not, right? It's 20-0, but it's 1-0. I mean,
Did
you're right.
Spain allow any goals?
One. The entire tournament won.
It's a World Cup record.
That's amazing. I bet Spain yesterday. I was watching Saturday. I was watching the recap of the consolation game.
Well, that was 4-0 into 4-3. That turned into a great game.
I know another concept though would never work in America. Could you imagine? AFC and NFC championship losers will play. Yeah, right. I mean, it would be the biggest farce of all time.
I mean, you know what though? If it were,
it'd be like a flag football game with professionals.
We don't watch it.
If it were the 3 hours before the Super Bowl started, we're watching it.
We're watching it.
If it's got an NFL logo on it, guess what? We're watching it.
Yeah, we're watching it. We're watching it. But it is that concept of like the consolation round. But it was. I love the World Cup. You know what I love the most about the World Cup is all the people that hate America had to sit there and visit with people that were visiting America. Maybe the bet for the first time, I saw the Slovenian team touring a Bass Pro Shops. And dude, these guys were like, "This is the greatest thing I've ever seen, ever." It's like, fishing, I guess, is a big part of their world, and they're just looking at the greatest fishing equipment ever seen in one spot, and it was just awesome. That was cool to hear, because we get jaded, and so many the best parts of America we just take for granted, which are the people. You can hate the leaders, you can hate the whatever, you can hate the stances, but you know what? The American people love international people, and they treat them incredibly well. And now this was like an organic view of America. It's like you actually had to come here, and maybe you had to go to Kansas City, and maybe you had to go to Atlanta in the summer. Maybe you went to New York, wherever it was. But it's like you got to see, how great, there's so many great things about America. So I loved it from that standpoint.
We will never be as exotic as Sri Lanka. But have you seen aisle 12 of this Walmart?
And have you ever seen barbecue? Right. Have you ever seen a barbecue rib this big? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, who was the Asian guy who was eating a beef rib? You saw that? It was like, he took one bite, and he was like, this is like amazing. America. Yeah. So I love that. And then I was in Boston for some of it, and Germany was there, and there were tons of German fans descended on Boston, and just all the cool stuff. It was just an awesome event. It was an awesome event. It was a great event for the country. It was a great event for the marketing of our country. It was
Scotland
great.
Drinking every city that it got to out of beer was fantastic.
It was awesome, man. It was awesome. And just
the Norway row, the all the fans pretending to row the boat. That I think that's one of the most iconic images of this World Cup. It was a lot of fun. It was pretty special. I watched more of it than I've ever watched, and they're calling it the most successful World Cup ever. Who could argue? I mean, it turned me a total non-believer into a totally interested viewer. So
it took me half the World Cup to figure out how to bet it. I was betting teams to win, and then I realized you got to bet teams to advance.
Nice. Yes.
Because I kept losing on these fucking draws. And it's like, wait a second, I'm losing on a draw here. It's like, but wait, there's penalty kicks. So if you're going to bet the World Cup, bet the teams to advance. All right.
I'll say this much. The World Cup was adorable. I'm good for another 3 years.
Yeah, where is it next? Where is it next? Do we know where it's next?
I do not know.
It's going back.
Fine. I got plenty of time to figure it out. And now there's going to be competing leagues happening simultaneously with tournaments that I have no idea that players that are now playing for other teams. Did you
see the news that Parag Marathe was being thought about to be the next commissioner of Major League Soccer, and he withdrew his own name from consideration because to go from any NFL team to be the commissioner of Major League Soccer couldn't even be described as a lateral move. That is a demotion. So, of course, he took his name out of that run.
I am become Death Destroyer of Words, 2 gems.
Nice.
Gems.
100. Joseph Ernberg, 1,000 toilet bugs.
There you go.
Saying nice. Brock sucks. Is that what he's saying?
Yep.
He just called him for an MVP of the Super Bowl, the regular season, and 45 touchdowns 2 Supers ago. So, thank you.
No, he's saying that somebody else is saying he sucks. Whatever this emoji is. Did you get those 2 emojis? I can't.
It's a toilet and a caterpillar, right?
Yeah. So it's 1,000 toilet bugs. Basically, Brock sucks. All right. Scott WD has your fine gentleman guest apologized for his Las Vegas take last summer.
Which was the take? Which one?
Great show today.
That every Super Bowl should be in Vegas? Or, I mean, look, certainly the Raiders. Yes, was I excited about the Raiders? My only Raider take was
it must have been a Raider take, right?
I'm sure. I was excited about.
I agree with your take on Vegas. I mean, Damon and I were in Vegas for the Super Bowl. Vegas is just the absolute perfect spot for the Super Bowl.
Every single one.
We shot the greatest Radio Row Super Bowl 15-minute video that'll ever be shot. We got everyone in it from Wayne Newton to the commissioner. Like, it was insane.
It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. And but not only that, I mean, it's like, dude, how about our dinner at the at the S&W Steakhouse.
SW. This is the Wynn Steakhouse. That
Dude,
was good.
I mean, now we went to Golden Steer, and Golden Steer was amazing. Kevin and I went there. Thanks to one of our Big Mo Easy took us there, and it was great. It was amazing. But I gotta be honest, the SW Steakhouse was truly spectacular too. I mean, really spectacular. I mean, really, really spectacular. So, I mean, that town is just an amazing town. Now, granted, it was 38 degrees, and you couldn't walk outside without a jacket. But you know what?
Which is rare for Vegas.
Rare for Vegas, but it was like it was very, very cold. But besides that, it was awesome. Famous is Larry, Damon, Sammy. What up? My favorite show on YouTube.
Thank you
very much. Famous K. Let's go.
Barry Ford, Memphis. Bang, bang. Just tuning in. Larry, I saw your video yesterday on Debo Samuel. I agree. He's worth a serious look at bringing him back to the locker room.
Nope.
Okay, I did.
Damon's out on the whole thing.
I'm out.
Damon's out on it. Vegas or Vegan Joe.
Vegan Yosh.
Should I bet on the Niners winning the division? No.
I'd rather go wins. I would suggest going wins.
It's going to be, winning the division. I'd
go over under wins.
The Niners are a little too old at their key spots.
But you could win. You could lose the division with 12 wins. I mean, that's the crappy part about that bet.
Right. And that what you're really betting is a lot of the head-to-head matchups.
Yeah, that's fun.
Hard to do. That's hard to do. Okay, do we get this one from Too Much Sauce? Did Kyle know the Super Bowl overtime rules in 2024?
Sort of.
I think he probably knew them, but I don't know that he shared them with his team.
He was not as.
There's definitely some indecision there, right? Because we saw Juszczyk say, "Oh, I didn't know that." I mean, that is hard to get around that.
And we heard Andy Reid say, "Yes, we practiced it all week, and what would happen if we were going to overtime? We practiced it, and it felt like it very much snuck up on Kyle."
Craig's Kitchen 360. I bet you guys are so ready for real football.
Wow, no doubt.
You know what? Yesterday was great. That's what yesterday was from a World Cup standpoint. All it did to put people in my house watching a game that way on a Sunday in the middle of the afternoon. I realized, we're ready. We're ready. This was adorable, 1-0, cute, but really all I want is multiple games happening at the same time at noon in my house.
Have you guys seen the newest edition of Quarterback on Netflix?
No, is it Baker Mayfield on it though?
Yeah, it's pretty good though. I mean,
I'm a Baker
guy.
They
do a really nice job. They really do a nice job. It's Flacco, it's Jaden Daniels, it's Baker Mayfield, and who else?
You guys got a few minutes. I got to take a quick leak, but I got to do this. I got to do this story before we go.
Damon, dude, we can roll. I got to see Quarterback. Those are my buddies, Larry. I mean, my buddies. I mean, I worked with a lot of those guys at Fox, but that's the Jamie Horowitz. Those are the guys that put together Quarterback for
Quarterback.
Yep. They did wide receiver and they did quarterback and they did an amazing job.
I love it. I mean, even if you don't like the guys, the quarterbacks, I love it. It's like Hard Knocks, but even better.
It's better. I mean, think about it, because they made, Mariota was interesting. Kirk Cousins was interesting. Yeah. All of that was done so well. And the wide receiver one turned out so great because you ended up with the Super Bowl. I mean, think about it. That NFC Championship game where you were following St. Brown and Kittle and Debo, all of that to be happening was so cool. I mean, that was special.
It gets you to know the players' stories, Flacco and his family and his wife and his kids. And he, seeing him, Damon and I were at the Super Bowl where he won the MVP, was given that Corvette. Part of me was like, hey, where is that Corvette? Did you see where it was? It's in his, you didn't see it? It's in his garage collecting dust. It's like he hasn't driven it in like a decade or something. It was like some ridiculous thing. And it's like, and the wife's like, yeah, we'd get rid of it, but it's kind of
it's like a trophy.
It's a trophy.
It's basically a
trophy. But I mean, it's like, dude, he's got a Corvette in his garage that he just lets sit there.
I'm all for that show. And frankly, there are people that are up and down on Hard Knocks. I love it all. When you can get on the inside of teams doing business, I like all of it. Obviously, I'll forever love that Giants offseason one where they ended up with Saquon on the Eagles. Just all of that is so good. Draft rooms, whatever I can see behind the scenes on teams, I'm all for it. no matter
I am
what.
too. Also because the players are good guys.
Yes.
You know, I know the bad guys always get the headlines, but the vast majority of the NFL players they're like you and I. They're regular guys. They eat, they diet, they lift. They're gargantuan, they're fast and strong, whatever. But they're regular, easy to relate to guys. And without entourages that
it's great. It's great to see them with their kids, with their wives, the way they interact. All of that is so cool. The way they're taking care of their families. I love everything.
It humanizes the guys, and we talk about them as if they're assets and they're not real people, and they just produce statistics, and it creates a little human interest story that is forgotten far too often in conversations about these guys, as if they're goods or services that you can just trade for each other.
And something I'll never forget, seeing Mahomes, the way he would the way his trainer had him twisting his body, to then see it up against game tape of him stepping out of sacks and whatnot based on the exact movement that he's doing in the training is incredible.
Also getting the chance to know these guys' personalities a little bit. Like Jaden Daniels just seems like a really chill, laid back, really laid back dude. You know, and it's watching this whole thing with Ayuk is really odd to see him.
By the way, here in LA, Jaden spent a lot of time in LA, and my parents went to LSU, and he's an LSU guy. And I went and I saw him. I went right up to him. He was at one of the hotels I was near, and he was such a chill dude. Just had two of his friends around him. Like, no big deal.
Chill, very chill.
Brandon Ayuk was not one of those friends.
No, he was not.
West Side says 200 gems minus flow state.
What is going on with I've never seen a single gem given to us in any show we've ever done, and today we're
gemmed. And I think the dash is more of an equals. I think it's more of an equals, like 1,000 gems. You guys deserve the GOAT trophy. I think that's what it is.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Lex Luthor, 1,000 gems. You guys equal the GOAT trophy. There we go. We got Fuji says, I guess it will take the next CBA and NFLPA will need to push for all grass fields from the owners. Otherwise, they will threaten to hold out. I would do it. If I were the NFLPA, this is a spot I would absolutely lay down the line. I mean,
who's the guy that leads this charge? Is Aaron Rodgers the guy that leads this charge? Who is it?
Well, I mean, it should just be like the players just being willing to cave on some other issues, but get that thing, you know, if you're going to make progress in these negotiations, you got to kind of move forward in here, move back there. But I mean, trade something. I mean, if it's valuable to you, then trade something for it.
How about this? You guys, you want a 20-game NFL regular season?
Yeah.
We want grass.
Right. I had a funny soundbite from KMBR years ago. We did an interview with Sean Dawkins. Remember the former Cal receiver?
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, I asked him because at the time he was a free agent. I'm like, Sean, where do you want to sign? And he was trying to be coy. So he gave us one of the greatest sound bites of all time. While he's laughing, he goes, he's like, all I know is that Sean Dawkins wants to be on grass. And we use that. I mean, we use that to say we use that through the years. I mean, it was just
it works in two different ways.
I mean, it's an amazing soundbite.
Perfect.
Fuji says, Erling Holland taking home cowboy hat and boots and a taxiderm raccoon was epic moment. Next World Cup location is Spain, Portugal, and Morocco. So
see you guys
Spain,
there.
It's at all three at once. I guess,
see you guys there. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say this: that guy Holland, he became like a personal favorite of everybody's. I mean, he looks like a Viking.
The Vikings. So I got the purple light behind me today. Erling Holland.
This is the difference between American sports and them. In America, that kid is Max Crosby. He's not playing soccer.
Exactly.
You're asking him to be a stand-up, hand in the dirt defensive end. You know,
you're not. I thought he was a dead ringer for. He looks like Clay Matthews.
That's a good bit. That's a good bit. I like that a lot.
I mean, if you put Clay Matthews, you say, hey, that's Clay Matthews. It's like, dude, that looks just like Clay Matthews.
A little bit.
All right. We got one last one here. Here we go. We got this one from James Allen. He says 200 gems equals flow state.
Flow state. Let's go.
I don't even know we're flowing. Can I give you this one?
30 of them today.
Okay. So let's say any of us got a job working for an NFL team. Wouldn't among the very first things that you do be to cancel any and all gambling accounts that you have? Just shut them down. We're not even going to do it anymore. There's going to be nothing that looks like could even be misconstrued as gambling. I am calling every single one of my friends and just being like, dude, I'm out of the fantasy league. I'm sorry. That could be misconstrued. I've got bigger fish to fry now that I work for an NFL team. I'm in real football, not fantasy football. Sorry, everybody. Have you seen the story about the Cardinals executive?
No. Go ahead. Fire away. Who is it?
An attorney for the Arizona Cardinals director of college scouting. His name is Ryan Gold. Was suspended indefinitely on Friday for violating the NFL's gambling policy. Now, his lawyers have called the accusations blatantly false, and the client is going to appeal the decision. But Gold, who is in his 13th season with the Cardinals, was promoted to the director of college scouting in June of last year. He spent the previous 3 years as an assistant director of college scouting. So this guy's a football scouting lifer. He finally gets the big seat. The NFL on Friday says its investigations determined that Gold provided confidential, non-public inside information regarding the 26th draft by the Cardinals before the picks were announced, and that Gold participated in parlay bets on the NFL and in college games. The league didn't say to whom Gold provided the information. The lawyer.
So he predicted their picks because he works for them.
He's the director of scouting.
That's so ridiculous.
He is tipping pick. Now he says, this is all.
No, he's not tipping. He wasn't tipping. He was just wagering. He was benefiting from insider knowledge.
Or telling someone.
But was he tipping it? No, he wasn't tipping it, right?
He was looking at, I don't know, maybe he's on Kalshi or Polymarket.
Yeah, so he's cashing out is what he is.
The lawyer said that the gambling activity was Gold's wife making $10 weekly bets with a group of high school friends on parlay. So now I know you're in trouble. Because you're not saying I never made these bets. You're saying it was my wife making the bets. Again, even if you are totally innocent, how dumb are you to not tell your wife, we're all done making $10 parlay bets. I'm working in professional football. The risk is not there is
What's the upside on a $10 bet?
Exactly. There's congratulations. Did you hit a $38 parlay? I've got a 6-figure job over here. What are you doing?
Ooh.
What are you doing? Anyways, he said that the Gold could have never divulged the Cardinals draft picks, his lawyer said, because he didn't know who they were picking, and that only Michael Bidwell and Monty Ossenfort knew the actual ansers. Now, do you think when he sat around talking to his friends?
Oh my God, that guy's good luck arguing that. He's just got great intuition.
Who do you think is the director of college scouting your team is about to draft? Well, I can't even give you a small list of names.
I'm not the owner. I don't know.
We've only been in intense meetings discussing
I'm
this
not the owner. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, come on,
it's
man.
just
that's awful.
Even if you're innocent, you're guilty of being a dumb fuck.
That's brutal.
You know what? I get the feeling, Damon and Sammy, that we're going to see just more sad gambling stories because it's just as it becomes a part of our culture more and more and more, and it's just a fixture. People are just they're gonna challenge it. They're gonna try to think that they're above. Well, I'll get away with it. No,
it's tempting. Look, it's tempting. And Damon, when you started this story, because I didn't know the Gold story, I actually thought you were going to talk about fantasy football, and I first thought of Rick Neuheisel, because to this day, the Neuheisel thing is the most actually unfair thing that ever happened. Yeah. I will agree. The Neuheisel thing was atrocious as far as I was concerned.
What? That he got dumped?
It was an office NCAA tournament pool. While he was the UCLA, I believe while he was the UCLA head coach, right?
Yes.
Or was it Colorado? No, it was Colorado, I believe.
It
was when he was with Colorado, I think. And I just thought that was terrible.
That was ridiculous. That's like the bagel and cream cheese. Like somebody got, an NCAA violation for having schmear on a bagel. It's like, seriously, what are we doing? What are we really doing over here? By the way, this is a very, very important point that needs to be brought up here from Scott WD. He says this segment is sponsored by Prize Picks.
For sure.
Indeed, it absolutely is. But I can promise you that if I'm working for the Niners, if Sammy's working for the Raiders, if Larry's working for the Rams, none of us are on Prize Picks today. I can promise you that.
No. And my wife's not making $10 parlays. For bragging rights, with what bragging rights? A $10 bet is bragging rights.
Right. You're going to cost me my possible career in the NFL, but as long as you dunked on Tammy this week, congratulations.
Yeah, I mean that's wild. By the way, the thing that maybe you guys want to throw a quick opinion on. LeBron. According to this, LeBron is expected to make an official announcement tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Multiple sources tell me he has already signed a 2-year deal to go to the Philadelphia 76ers.
I mean, I've heard that it's already a multiple-year done deal with the Miami Heat. So now we're just literally throwing shit against the internet to see what sticks a few hours from now. And everyone's going to play the "I was right" game, and those who were wrong will be forgotten instantly.
Yeah, let's get down on record on this. I would be shocked if he goes to Philadelphia. He wants no part of Philadelphia. Philadelphia would carve him up, spit him out. They would have negative nicknames about him before the sun went down. He can't handle any of it, let alone some of it. And I think Philadelphia there's no chance in hell he's going there. You got to remember this about this next LeBron spot. He's doing a movie. So you got to ask yourself, what's the best movie? And to me, the going home, okay, but he's been there, done that. Going to Miami, but you could say the same thing. He's been there, done that. If I were him, I'd go to the Knicks. They just won the title. They're a team that's ready to win. It's Madison Square Garden. It's the Mecca. You're trying to launch whatever your next thing is. You're not going to get a better venue. But if you said predict it, I'm going to predict the Warriors. And here's why. I think when you have everything, and LeBron's got everything at this point, everything. All he really needs is, first of all, he's a gigantic egomaniac, as you can tell, which is why this thing keeps dragging on, because he loves the attention. He's an attention whore of the biggest order.
You think he'd be tired of it at this point in his age?
You would think. You would think. Yeah. I mean, seriously, you get enough people recognizing you. I mean, I get annoyed sometimes, and I'm not LeBron. Okay. But what matters to you as time goes on? What matters to you, Sammy? What matters to Damon? I can tell you, I know you guys really well. You're big into sports. You're big into your career, but nothing means more than Jack and Ozzy. Sammy, you're the same thing.
Yep.
Nothing means more, but nothing means more to you than your little boy.
Levi, for sure.
I can tell. That's the way I am too. And that's the way LeBron is too. And I think LeBron is going to pick the Warriors because Joe Lacob is going to give him everything he wants. He's going to, practice just ended and we don't play. It's Wednesday afternoon. Practice just ended. We don't play till Saturday night. Hey, I'm LeBron. I'm going to skip the walkthrough. I'm going to skip the practice in between. I'm going back to LA. I'll show up at 4:00 on game day to play. And then I'm getting back on a plane because I got to be at my daughter's volleyball game. I think that he's now in that mode of dad. He's been around way too long. I think the Warriors, he wanted to stay in LA. He was never going to leave LA, but LA kicked him out. He didn't want to go to the Clippers. Now he can go to Steph, Draymond. He's been coached by Kerr in the Olympics. He's got quick, 90-minute ride home. There are people that commute longer to stay in Los Angeles. There's people that, if you work at the Staples and you live, I mean, you tell me, Sammy, if I live in Redondo Beach, or my wife's grandparents used to live in Palos Verdes, basically same area. The beach, the southern beach area, and I want to go to Staples, and it's the middle of the day. How long is it going to take me?
Not an option. It's just not an option. I mean, it's a 90-minute drive. It's just brutal. I mean,
90 minutes to 2 hours. So guess what?
You got to give yourself 90 and then parking. And once you get close to the building, as it's called crypto now, I'll just say a couple of things. LeBron, and you're seeing it right now in the comments on our YouTube page, which we know is really skewed towards the Bay Area, but you'll see a couple of people here who are Lakers fans as well, and they're glad to see LeBron gone. With what LeBron just went through in LA, which was not being beloved in a city which he won a championship for a team that was not a championship contender before he got there. Anthony Davis had never won anything. The Lakers were not trending towards a championship before he arrived, and they won that in 2020, and they went through a very playoff Jimmy, a very real opponent during that run. That was incredible. He did not get the love. Somehow he was compared to Kobe. LeBron, going back to Cleveland, is where he would get the most love. Based on what just happened in LA, if he goes and wins with the Warriors, he goes through exactly what Kevin Durant did, which is this is really about Steph and Draymond. It's not about you, LeBron. It won't be considered LeBron's championship. I will say the Philadelphia thing is interesting for a couple of reasons. When it comes to the talent around him, he's probably got the most and the greatest collection there in Philadelphia. Also, I say this. Do you know what I call the second round of the NBA playoffs in Philadelphia for all my family that's back home there? I call it the NBA Finals. Joel Embiid, as great as his career is, he has never, I repeat, never. He's surrounded by Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons. They and he have never been out of the second round in the playoffs. LeBron James turning this team into a winner does not even require him winning a championship. The upside in Philadelphia is absolutely there. I'll take it because this picture is on the screen. I'll take it because my dad raised me with Philadelphia sports. It's why I'm passionate about sports. LeBron in Philadelphia is an easy route for him to take. I like it with Philadelphia. I'm on the record with that.
Wow. All right. Let me wrap up with this. Oh, sorry, Sammy. We'll wrap up with this. If it's about basketball, the answer will not be the Golden State Warriors. If it's about amenities, the Golden State Warriors could be LeBron's next team. For what Larry just said, he will spend fewer time. He'll spend less time flying from San Jose's private airport to LA to visit his family than he will be caught in a snowstorm between Cleveland and Akron, Ohio. So if you want to have the proper jumping off point for the rest of your career, well, getting into the Kleiner Perkins, Joe Lacob posse is a really nice thing to do. Ask Andre Iguodala how that investment in DoorDash went for him. He made more money in one tech investment than he did in his entire career. The amount of tech, AI, everything that LeBron's entertainment industry can be involved with. He's still based on the West Coast. He now brings in San Francisco, America's last operating full-on diamond mine in terms of we make shit. If it's about basketball, Miami, Philadelphia, Cleveland make more sense. If it's about I want to play with Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and set my billion-dollar post-playing career up perfectly, we'll say Golden State Warriors around 5 o'clock this afternoon if that's when it's supposed to happen. It is time to happen, though, LeBron. I mean, like it's now you have the floor to yourself. Now is the time to make this announcement, and you basically heard the NBA lean in and say, we have broadcast partners that we need to satisfy. And if LeBron James is about to be a Utah Jazz, we need to fucking know that because we're going to put them on TV twice this year. Unless you're going LeBron, in which case they're going to be on TV 50 times this year. So figure it out. Business needs to happen. And if LeBron is more interested in his post-playing day business, the Warriors got a shot.
That's going to do it for us, guys. 2 hours and 11 minutes. A little bit of a longer show today. But that's going to do it for us. Thanks to all of our sponsors, of course, Pig and a Pickle, Prize Picks, Novato Chevrolet. Damon, go ahead. Thank a few more of your sponsors.
Yeah,
as
indeed.
well.
Thank you so much to Prize Picks. Thanks to TriSnap.ai. We appreciate everyone for being here. Hit like, subscribe across all 3 channels if you would, please. And thank you very much. It was great hanging out with you today. I'll be back at it 11 a.m. tomorrow, West Coast time here on YouTube. I know Sammy and Larry will be as well. Give me a follow over on TikTok. We're blowing up over there. We have the latest 400,000 views on something
Way to
that
go,
I
D. Way to go.
Who the hell knew? Old man Damon doing it on TikTok. Who the hell knew?
Look at that. Sammy, good to see you. Thanks to everybody. Links are in the description for all of our sponsors. Peace.